Yeah, we definitely could do that. All right. So I want to do a test for you guys. All right. Close your eyes for a second, both of you guys. Trust me, this is not some type of scam. I'm not going to be naked. I'm not going to be naked. Think about how like amazing your senses are. Sense of touch, hearing, all that kind of shit. And then realize 2 strips of bacon don't smell different than a pound. Is that not the saddest fucking thing in the world? Like, I was thinking about that a couple days ago, and I don't know why I thought about it. You can open your eyes now.
Wow.
But I was like,
yeah.
if I went in and there was 2 strips of bacon, and those 2 strips of bacon smelled delicious because I was having bacon. And I was like, you know what, though? I would not be able to tell if it's 2 strips or if it was 2 pounds. Our sense of smell is so bad. It's like so terrible, man. But anyway.
Can you imagine the disappointment? If you dig in and it's just one,
it's bacon
rasher,
bits.
Like
it's bacon bits.
It's also a considerable blessing in other instances.
Yeah, like working out, running timed miles with friends. Yeah, true. That is true. It can be absolutely terrifying. Yeah, working out with anybody, you go into a workout area and somebody's got the stank foot, and you come in and you're like, they're either putting asbestos up, a porcupine and a skunk shit on each other and then squirted on each other in here, or somebody hasn't washed their feet in like a decade.
Or you're driving through the countryside with the stench of manure everywhere.
Oh, okay. Admittedly, it smells like money. Smells like money to me because of where I come from. But I do agree. Yeah, manure, man. Manure. Or a mill. I don't know if your guys' mills have the same processing ours do, but if it's a paper mill, it is. And I lived in a paper mill town. And so when the wind blew right, it was just the worst. But it smelled like money.
Tannery then as well. Yeah.
It smelled like, a tannery. Oh, tanneries are, man, boy, talk about, we're coming up with bad smells. Anyway, speaking of bad smells, Silver's back. I'm
yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
Segue. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyway, we're going to talk about Battlefield 6, which I'm excited to say looked pretty goddamn good. I watched, let's see, about 4 or 5 different streamers streaming that, watching them play, and just sort of judging a couple people that I really do enjoy watching that, don't go for the hyperbole and stuff like that. And man, that game looks wicked. So we'll talk about that in tech. We've got a bunch of news from Johnny. He was nice enough to throw us a bunch of news in here. Like, let's see. Let me look at this list. We've got Gears of War E-Day and State of Decay 3 coming to PS5. Horizon franchise selling 38 million, which I discussed on the side pod a little bit. We'll keep talking about it for sure. Star Wars sequel, outlawed. Even though it's Star Wars Outlaws, sequel's canceled. Technically, same thing. House Marquee talking about struggles growing into a AAA studio. Oh, I didn't see that interview. Duos released in Elden Ring. Microsoft making billions from Game Pass. But did they? Yes, they did. But did they? Yes, they did. Maybe. But if you don't agree with them making money at all, then they made nothing and they're lying. So it's going to be an interesting discussion around that because the internet is a hotbed of back and forth on that shit, man. Sully, $10 super chat. Praise Odin. Okay. Does that seem odd? He's talking about Odin, and that's what we were talking about prior to the podcast. What's going on?
Oh, we being listened to? Are you in our walls?
Are you in our alt chat? Are you in our alt chat? Alt chat sounds suspicious. I just realized alt chat sounds like close your eyes. What do you smell? Anyway, what have you guys been playing? Let's begin there. Johnny, we'll go with you first. What?
Death Stranding 2. I completed it this week.
Congrats.
And it was a
100%?
glorious experience. No, I'm not that guy.
I love how Silver fucking snuck that in there without Johnny noticing that he basically deballed the entire achievement by you not having done 100%. He was like, 100%? Just not rude, but 100%, I'm sure.
Just moving the baseline goalpost to 100%.
Damn.
Yeah, gotcha.
Anyway, yeah, so you beat that. You beat Death Stranding 2. So,
yeah.
Did you beat Death Stranding 1?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think's the best Death Stranding? 1 or 2?
Well, I think this one is so much better that it's, it's crazy.
Vindicate.
It was really enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, especially just the contrast of it is, I think, reflects your dislike of the first one. If you're on the scale where you really enjoyed this one, I can see that like the first one didn't really hit it for you. Where like I just enjoyed the first one more, so this one's probably even higher. But
dude, thank you, Johnny, because with averages, people assume, I don't know why this is, but with averages, you start to get this thing where people forget that averages indicate that there will be outliers. And for me, the higher my response was to Death Stranding 2, the more I felt, I already feel solidified in if I don't like a game. It's not a big deal. It's not cancer. We're not solving something. But at the same time, the higher I felt about Death Stranding 2, the more I realized just how Death Stranding 1 for sure was not going to be for me, right? Like it was pushing it even farther away as a title that just definitely felt like, oh, it doesn't ring true as a title that I enjoy, and sort of solidified that for me. What did you think was the biggest improved? Like, what was the biggest improved thing? If you were looking at Death Stranding 2 and you're like, Kojima made this, so it's definitely weird, but something has dramatically improved in it, what would that be?
I think overall the pacing is the main thing I'd put it to. The way they dole out the story, but kind of letting you interact with the gameplay is really good. It's much better. Mm-hmm. It feels much more natural. And the ending is a bit drawn out in the Kojima style, but over like 90% of the way there, it felt really good, where I could really do everything that I like about the game. And stuff like combat was also fairly optional a lot of the time. So if you didn't like it particularly, like I didn't, you could also do stuff like stealthing around, or, basically not just killing camps, right? You could sneak in, take something from them, or kind of get creative with different ways of approaching it if you didn't like the combat. If you did, there's more of it and it's a bit better. I still think that's not the strength of the game. And you don't have like a responsive movement to dodge attacks and stuff like that. But what it does well, which is the kind of like infrastructure porn, where everything, is really highly detailed, the 3D models of everything, the boxes, the vehicles and everything, and the cool aesthetics and designs on just like the little text that comes up, but then the stations and the roads and how everything works. That's all super nailed. So it was super satisfying to join up roads, some of the tramways and stuff like that, and being able to connect things, having different routes for places and like send resources from here to there and just be able to connect stuff.
I felt the ending was sort of like, Return to the King, sort of like a Lord of the Rings. It stuck around a little too long, but I do know a lot of people who felt that ending was ace beyond all belief. I saw people popping off, Telegram when I was in one of the rooms there, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. It seemed like people who got to the end did like it, but it did stick around a little longer than I would have liked. What about a third one? Yes, no?
Oof. Yeah, I would have said no to a second one, so that's the weird part. Maybe they just know more than I do in that sense. They might have something interesting to still do with this.
Wait a minute.
I would like
this
to
is
see...
gaming YouTube. There's no chance the developer knows more than you do. You're a YouTuber.
We are the experts.
Dude, you're the expert. You've got the white earmuffs on. You're the one who knows what's going on. You got the Beat headphones. You got the fucking background. You're definitely more intelligent than any developer who's ever worked on a game. So if you're saying that they need to stop, I would say they need to listen to you, right? Like that would be ridiculous if they were going to create another title. We want to make sure that they understand that, they can't really work on their own. They need to ask you. So
yeah, well, Naughty Dog has not listened to me.
Naughty Dog has not listened.
Hitting up the Last of Us tree. So.
Yeah, Last of Us Remake 77. Dude, yeah, that is true. Third one I would be for, I mean, I didn't love 2. I liked it a lot, though. And I can say that's not the same thing with 1. So what else were you playing?
Do you feel
go
like, just to wrap up on that, do you feel like you're pretty much done with these characters? Like, would you be excited to see like Higgs, Sam, any of these yet again, like Die Hard Men, as much as, they're loved and they're awesome?
I guess that would be a good indicator of where I am with it. I don't care. If they show up again, I care so little that that's great. And if they don't, I care so little that that's also great that they're not there. I don't dislike them at all. Their naming is stupid. Like, I think that at one point it might have been sort of cool 15, 20 years ago, but now it definitely is showing, I would say, a creakiness to his ability to write that finally people are starting to sort of pinpoint. But gaming and writing's gotten better and worse, obviously. It's always going to be better and worse because it doesn't just cohesively all go up as one, at one time. By the way, that's the same shit, man. You'll always hear that dumbass saying like a rising tide raises all boats, not ones that are fucking anchored down and tied up to the moor and it fucking goes over the deck or over the dock and they sink. Like, there are some people that can't rise up with everybody else. He can. I think he can. But let's be honest, man. Ewan Boll or whoever that fucking director is who does all the shitty B movies, if all directors got better, he would still not. Right?
True.
Like I hate
like that one guy that
saying.
Never got better. You talked about some other podcast.
Yeah,
that's his level.
That's your level, man. And you gotta, hey, it's okay because some people will be underwater with you. What else have you been playing?
A little bit of the original Elden Ring with a buddy. His first time. We're doing that seamless co-op mod.
Very cool.
Going through it, exploring.
Very cool. What about you, Silver? What have you been enjoying the last 2 weeks?
I haven't really been gaming a whole lot. Still mostly on the Switch. Bit of Breath of the Wild and actually going back to Three Houses a little bit. Fire Emblem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, getting into Peak, the 4-player co-op mountaineering game, a little bit as well, which has been good fun.
Yeah, we'll get some impressions from you. Is that about it for games you've been enjoying?
Yeah.
Cool. Super chats.
I
G
did
Reaper
one other thing.
Rewatched BF trailers multiple times now. I'm so scared. Don't know what the hell that means. SBZ says, "Happy August, gents. Welcome back, Silver. Johnny, do you have a license to stream, mate? Do you need to show your ID? LOL, gang. What's up?" Lustin says, "Do you need to verify your age in the alt chat? It's not your age. It's your length." Solely, $5 super chat. Also, praise Carrick, Johnny, and Silver. Anyway, what were you going to say? Go for it, Johnny.
I was just going to add, I did play a bit of Grounded 2 as well, which launched in early access this week on Game Pass and on Steam.
Let's impression that then in a little bit because I did too.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that for sure. But first, let's hear from Silver about Peak. Like, what is it, and what did you like about it?
Peak is kind of the latest sort of indie hit on Steam, I think. It sort of has taken off on the sales charts and like streaming channels and stuff. It got made pretty quickly in a game jamboree.
Okay.
It's basically a 4-player game where you go into a sort of a randomized map to climb a mountain or a series of mountains. They get sort of to take you through different biomes, like 4 or 5, until you get to an endpoint where you then have to evacuate the map. And then as you navigate this space, you also have to navigate your survival meters, so your stamina. You have to manage your stamina and your hunger, and potential environmental hazards like cold in a cold climate or heat in a warm climate.
So some survival, I guess survival element or something there.
Yeah.
Can you get like frostbite or?
You don't get frostbite. No.
Okay.
What you get is like for instance, in the ice section or the ice biome, you get sort of blizzards that start intermittently,
Mhm.
and so you have to run for cover while it starts to get freezing. Or if you're out in the open, your stamina will start to be limited by like cold damage on your stamina bar. And then you circumvent that by finding shelter, either behind like cliffs or trees or whatever, and you can huddle together with other players to sort of generate warmth and counter it as well. Or use supplies potentially to manage those environmental dangers as well.
Wasn't expecting that. And then it's with controller or mouse and keyboard. What are the controls like?
It's with both mouse and keyboard and controllers. Sadly, keyboards are not customizable as of yet, which I think is a bit of a downer.
That's a bit of a downer. Yeah, that's honestly sort of surprising too.
But the like one of the best parts of the game are the interactions, in that you can actually grab players, lift them up on cliffs and whatnot, which might also be necessary because you can carry supplies like a backpack, but that'll weigh you down so that you have less stamina than other people. Mm-hmm. So if you're the guy carrying the supplies, you might need people to like help lift you up onto cliffs and stuff. You get ropes that you can tie to each other and to cliffs and whatnot. And there's positional voice chat, which can also make the game a lot more fun, because you'll hear players like scream as they fall, and their scream will grow distant. And you or if you lose each other and try and find out where you are using the positional audio, that can also feel really engaging. So those are all aspects that really help make each run unique, and really help sort of add flavor and personality to the game, because the game draws it feels a lot like Phasmophobia, in that a lot of its appeal comes from that social element of engaging with other players in terms of engage, and with the game systems, using the game systems to engage with other players socially.
What's the cost of this thing, first of all?
I think in US dollars, I think it's $5.
Damn. Not a bad.
And it's like €8 for EU citizens.
Not a bad price. Yeah, the EU getting
No, not
shafted.
at all, I don't think. And they change the map seed every day, so you get a unique mountain to climb every single day.
Oh, so it's like procedurally generated off the map seed that goes
it's
up.
not quite procedural generation, but it's sort of the developers, from what I understand, they kind of handpick a new mountain every day from a particular generation or something. Seed generation.
That makes sense. That's fine. Yeah. Hey, I'm not against the procedural generation shit as much as everybody else, so that's cool with me. You gonna do it, Johnny? You gonna play, or have you played it?
I haven't been convinced to play so far. No. You know how I feel about climbing games?
Right.
We talked about what was Jusant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's a cool idea, though. You know, those are purely like co-op games for me. It's not something I'd play solo. So if like Silver and Lemon need a third, look, they come like tears in their eyes, Johnny,
No, for sure.
Will you help us? I'll get in there. But yeah, I think it's one of those cool co-op experiences. I like the idea of like helping someone up in that way.
It does also have those cool moments where you're jumping towards a cliff and then a friend like stretches their hand out and you reach out to grab it.
You? That's cool.
Yeah. And helps lift you up. Or they miss and then you fall to your death screaming.
So would you say this is it a little bit like Human Fall Flat in its styling of physics? Do you remember Human Fall Flat? Isn't that what game was called?
I don't remember Human Fall Flat.
You were like,
I do remember
you
it.
Grab and pull each other.
Yeah, you could grab and pull, and sometimes you needed to as well to like overcome obstacles. So I see the comparison. Yeah.
Okay. Very.
It reminds me a lot of the other sort of 4-player social game graphically or aesthetically, that I forget the name of, where you have to plot against each other.
Among Us? Or is
Not quite Among Us, but a
okay.
kind of Among Us style game. Yeah, it's in that vein. But like character models are nearly identical to that game.
And do y'all get scored as a team or not?
Yeah. Well, you actually get kind of, if everybody dies, you get score. It does bring a scoring list of who actually ascended the most, so who climbed the furthest. Which can also be very funny because you'll see like maybe somebody climbed really high and then all of a sudden there's the drop off when they fell to their death.
When they fell. I'd be doing a lot of deals because I learned dealing early. I traded sandwiches at high school. I understood market negotiations. So I would definitely be up there being like, dude, I'll help you up, but we got to figure something out. A little bit of cash. Got to trade for something useful. Or can you push each other?
You can sabotage each other. You can also there's also stuff
Now
like you can eat a banana. You can also eat a banana and then drop the banana peel.
Banana peel.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Funny story, the banana peel. Because of the proteins in the cell, the banana peel is as close to a frictionless surface as humanly possible. So like when you see those movies of somebody tripping on one or a car skidding out takes more than one. But I was watching a science show and a couple days ago, they were like, hey, let's talk about random science facts. And it came up and they were showing the lipids in a banana is as close to a frictionless surface as you could possibly get. So you can quite literally kill somebody with a banana, which I thought was pretty fucking sweet. Never tried. I mean, that they caught me doing at least. What else? Let's see. What else do we got going on? What other small bits of news do we have before we jump into the big stuff? Looking at Johnny's list because Johnny brought the sauce here with a bunch of small stuff. Well, yeah, reports indicate Gears of War E-Day and State of Decay 3 are coming to the PS5.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid.
Yeah.
And that's pretty big, right? Like, if we're saying day one.
It is, yes. Day one, Gears in particular, I would say is big, not State of Decay 3. I think that's always been considered a second party, but yeah.
A bit more open.
Here's the thing. Some of these leaks are from the same people who leaked the Halo team switch to a different engine that we talked about last year. There was one other. Oh, the fact that Hellblade was running on systems a while ago on the PS5. Same people also, unfortunately for a lot of people who don't like this, are the same ones reporting that PlayStation's planning more games on the Xbox too. So, you can't say one's for sure right without looking at the other one and going like, uh-oh. Yeah. But, I mean, and it seems like they are as well. So I would say, yeah, it does make sense. I mean, Microsoft posted their numbers and their numbers are doing really well. Of course, that's also with Call of Duty that they have to pay off, they have to sort of pay off the debt of Activision. But it is doing well other than hardware, and hardware has such a small delta, You're not making very much on that hardware, but you're selling a bunch of software. You're the number one seller on the competitor's entire platform with a couple games. It's a pretty big deal. So I could see them looking at Gears is surprising. I don't know about you guys. I think Gears is one that if I was running a company, I'd probably hold Gears for exclusivity. But they're probably past the point of being able to hold some big titles. Because if you do, you're either going to get people saying, well, it'll come out later, or they'll get mad because they see that those other titles did come. So, and since Microsoft hasn't been very open, nobody has, by the way, in their exclusivity plans, it makes sense. I'm excited for
they haven't had a day one PlayStation 5 launch for a Microsoft product yet.
Not yet. No, not that I know of. Right? Because they did Forza, and they did Grounded, obviously, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, those were all retroactive.
I know. I'm just going through in my head just real quick.
Yeah.
Hellblade. Yeah. So no, that'll be the first. Now, again, this is a rumor. It if things work out, maybe they don't do it. But yeah, I think it makes sense for some of these titles. E-Day is huge too. This might be them looking at trying to also do something that has escaped Microsoft for years. And that's figuring out a way to make Gears and Halo worth shit again. Because the honest truth is, those used to be titles that you would see. I mean, they were big deals. And like a lot of these titles, things have sort of adjusted themselves and, in their popularity. Maybe they can never be as popular. But I think this would be a good litmus test. Be like, okay, E-Day's the start of everything brand new. It's the prequel. It's technology. They pretty much stated this is the first time they felt they could show E-Day in the way they wanted, probably due to technology. So let's go for it. But yeah, expect. I'm glad we're not a specific podcast for a console, because I have a feeling things are going to change. They are going to be so overlapping that it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable in the next couple of years when it comes to what gets released.
It's a little weird in the case of Gears, because Gears 5 was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It just, I think Gears 5.
It's just.
Go ahead.
I think maybe it just testifies to how long the turnover is now.
Yeah.
For these games.
Yeah. And the idea that it is possible that people got sort of tired of Microsoft in particular. Sony does it as well. So does Nintendo, but not near as much. In fact, I would say almost not. Microsoft and Sony have been trying to inject all kinds of crazy shit into their games story-wise that sometimes you're like, seriously? I mean, Master Chief, if you just have him killing some Flood, we'll probably be pretty happy. There is a place for Michael Bay movies, just as there is a place for Gears or Halo style games where we don't need a fucking discussion if Master Chief is a bad guy or not. Like, we may joke about it. We may joke about Nate killing everybody in Uncharted, but we don't want to see one where, he's put on fucking trial, might go to the Hague or something. You're just like, what the fuck? We don't need that. I mean, some of these games just have us fight some bad guys and I liked Gears a lot. I liked this last one, but it did do some stuff. Some people weren't there. Some people passed away. I think maybe sometimes it'd be nice to just see the guys get back together again and shoot some shit. I don't know. What were we going to say, Johnny?
Do you think that having a day one Microsoft title on PS5 generates a expectation where, like, now every other upcoming big title is also expected to be there, and if it isn't, that's going to be like negative PR?
I think if you establish the precedent, you're going to align expectations along those lines.
Yeah. And I think they already slightly, because they were not talking about it, they put some of their big titles on. They've already slightly went for that. I could see them holding some back, though, and being, for example, they can do the age-old thing, which, by the way, we know sometimes is true and sometimes has been patently false, which is we need to concentrate on just one platform. So they could in the future say the team that's working on blank game is small enough, or the decisions we're doing in this game are big enough that we just want to work on one platform and the other platform will come later, which is an excuse you're going to hear a lot from different companies. That's an excuse. We know it. Well, it's not an excuse. It's just that you've chosen to put your finances somewhere else, which is fine, but yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you put that down there, because State of Decay, getting more players, to me, it's the greatest thing in the fucking world, man.
Amazing.
State of Decay is a unloved, unattractive, unlucky POS of a game that I love. It is a mutt dog of a game, and yet I adore that thing. I mean, when was the first one, man? 360, right? Yeah, back when it got 7 FPS. So 360 was the first title. Dude, I adore those games. Star Wars Outlaws sequel got canceled too due to weak sales. I don't feel that the game was even delivering that crazy of stuff to make a person want a sequel. So I wasn't too surprised by this. What do you guys think of Outlaws?
I don't think it needed a sequel story-wise either, really.
Agreed. Right.
Yeah. Not every game needs a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm almost glad that to see that. Yeah, like you guys are saying, not every game needs a sequel. That one seemed like a great, just standalone run at something different. And I don't necessarily even look forward to, another Jedi title in that other franchise they got going.
Do you guys feel like?
I think it's a bit.
Do you guys feel Star Wars is then sort of not necessarily dropping down in the public zeitgeist, because obviously it is, but do you guys also feel that maybe like do we need time away, or is there too much, or is it that we feel until something brand new is done, they plumbed whatever interests us for Star Wars? I mean, I'll accept anything. If something pops up and I like it, I'll jump into it regardless. But I would say I agree with Johnny that I'm sort of like ambivalent. And if I'm ambivalent to Cameron's version of Star Wars, it must be pretty bad, because that guy's awesome.
I think there's still a pretty decent space for Star Wars games, like the XCOM Star Wars game we're getting.
But that's different. But I agree with you. Yes, as in it's different style. I'm fully with you. Fully with you. Yeah.
And I think there's an enormous space there for Star Wars games, or another. I mean, we're not going to get it, unfortunately, but another. What was the Squadrons game from
Squadrons?
EA,
oh
right?
My God! Please, let's get another one.
That would be great. There's or Old Republic games. Then not even necessarily with the Old Republic like gaming franchise.
You just mean
but
time
like
frame.
Going back. Yeah, but going back like to Legends Old Republic, like Exar Kun,
right,
or older Sith Lords, or stuff like that. If that's something people want with the whole lightsaber thing and the Force and whatnot, you can make center stuff around that for sure. There's a huge playground you could still set up for Star Wars game of all sorts. That could be successful.
I think it could. I just think that I feel personally that there's an uphill battle that may not have been there before. And it could have also been because Survivor hit with so many tech issues. So you have Survivor that hit with all the tech issues, and then you have Outlaws that hit with tech issues, and an odd game. When everything's said and done about Outlaws, you look at it and you're like, well, that was weird. You guys could have sort of knocked it out of the park with a big sprawling thing, and instead it was these separated. It was odd, and then all the AI issues in an engine that isn't necessarily known for AI issues. It's certainly not perfect, but
I think for sure there's a very vocal and invested community in hating anything Star Wars related.
True that.
And sort of generating outrage on that front perpetually. But I think that's also potentially maybe a double-edged sword, where maybe that generates publicity for your game that wouldn't be there otherwise, potentially, and exposure. So whether that's how much of a detriment that is, I'm not sure. I think maybe if you actually make a game that's
good,
that's strong and good on its own grounds, I think it's capable of surviving that kind of shitstorm or potential shitstorm.
Yeah. I guess that's the problem, is the last two haven't been. So like after a while, your motor set. Now, obviously, I think the XCOM one is its own thing, right? Like super excited, can't wait. But I do feel that in particular, also, perhaps it's just the way Disney treats Star Wars that maybe it doesn't appeal to us. So it's harder for us to get involved. And maybe where it does appeal is the mobile crowd. XCOM, I hope it appeals. I hope that game's good. Like, I really hope that game's good. But yeah, Star Wars just
or if we get another strategy game, like the old Star Wars Rebellion or Empire at War or something.
I mean, I have no clue, like, if that game, what they would do. Microsoft's one of the few companies that goes back to Age of Empires, Age of Mythology. I could see them footing the bill for something like that. That'd be cool. I would love to see someone get their hands on the canceled Star Wars 1313 and do something with it. Yeah, there was barely any third. I mean, Jesse stated that it was pretty far done, but I I would rather have them start over. I think whatever's there is so old, ancient, and creaky and made from the day. We're a decade ago in game mechanics. The idea, though, is sound. But the idea is replicated in Outlaws. What'd you say?
A Republic Commando sequel would be great, though, with the cliffhanger we got from the original Republic. So.
Yeah, that's true. That would be good. That would be good. Moving on from there, let's talk a little bit about Battlefield. So that thing was leaking, man. I mean, holy Christ. I feel like the Battlefield information and data was just constantly leaking. It was all over the place. There was always somebody leaking something every 3 minutes for that game, man. But we finally got some hands-on from some people streaming it. I didn't play it. I watched a bunch of people play it. It looks very good. The destruction looks on point as hell. Let's see. Release date, what? October 10th? Is that right? With an open beta on August 9th and 10th. So 8 days from now. And then another one, it looks like possibly 14th and 17th. They also say early access to the beta for Battlefield Labs members, which I'm not a part of. That's their creator club kind of thing. Or not creator club. Well, sort of. August 7th. 64 player matches, no more 128, they say. Classic 4-class system. What I saw, though, so you see the trailer, right? And you see all of this traileritis in the trailer, where the battles and everything that are going on are all packed and shit. But every single person I saw playing the game was nothing like the trailers. Now, the trailers weren't fake. They weren't. They were the gameplay, but they were faked. They were those probably hours upon hours of telling.
Intensity was amped up.
Oh, dude. It was in telling people, you go here, or just maybe even recording millions of hours of gameplay until the craziest thing happened. But not a single moment in any of the games looked anything like those trailers. Even though, again, completely fair trailer, cannot diss on that trailer, because you could make a game for a brief second probably look like that. What it did look like was a very typical multiplayer game with destruction, which makes Call of Duty look very static, very like old. I like Call of Duty a bunch, enjoyed the shit out of it. We'll continue to play it far after Battlefield 6 is out, even if I play Battlefield 6. But the destruction.
Yeah, the different thing
so
altogether.
Good. Yes. And it didn't look like it tripped anybody up. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I was looking around to see if the destruction like caused a bunch of clipping errors or a bunch of shit where people got caught on it, because I was worried about pathing, animations. Now, I'm only able to watch one stream. Well, I can watch 2 streams at a time, which is what I was doing, but that's about the most I can see. So there's going to be, tons of people who've watched more. But it looked like it was in general really good shape. And FPS wise, did you guys see any? I was watching streams and I really didn't see any dumps on FPS either, which was pretty crazy for what they're doing.
No, that thing looked really solid, even when walls were coming down and stuff.
Dude, man. I wonder how much of that's done in the cloud, though. The destruction. You can bet your sweet ass there's a lot of physics being done on that. Just like trying to capture every packet of the physics. Yeah, it's cool, man. I liked what I saw. What did they have? I can't remember how many game modes. This says there's Conquest, Domination, Breakthrough, and Squad Deathmatch. It's been a while since I did Battlefield. Obviously, I know what Squad Deathmatch is. Conquest, I know.
Yeah.
But Breakthrough, I don't know. I don't think I know what Breakthrough is. Breakthrough sounds like something where somebody's holding on to something, right? And you're sprinting, you're trying to get through it. Maybe they're holding on to reinforced area of some kind.
The old Assault game mode for Unreal Tournament.
Or, oh, dude, man, the train level Unreal Tournament when you had to get to the front of the train and you're just bouncing around on the caboose and shit. Oh, such a good mode. Such a good mode. Lombardo says it looks like good old Battlefield. Yeah, I would say that's the other thing is it doesn't look too surprising other than the destruction. It didn't look confusing. Looked like everybody sort of knew exactly what they were doing. At the streamers that I saw, one of the guys, it was his first time streaming the game, said it was the first time playing, seemed to be doing quite well. I mean, he was dying, a lot. But it was like, what multiplayer, when you jump in with other people, doesn't have you dying a lot?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
I found that it looked very different depending on like the people who was playing or the mode they were playing in, because I saw like a death match and that looked pretty close to Call of Duty. And then I saw some other gameplay where they had, helicopters and tanks and stuff, and that looked just wildly different. So it's going to be interesting to see what the different modes are like and what the experience is going to be.
What do you guys think about multiple modes when you launch an online? Do you want to see 4, 6? Do you want to see 2 done? I'm not saying 6 can't be done well, but I'm saying, do you guys have enough throughput in your brain to play 6 modes? Or are you more like, hey, you know what? I'm going to focus on this new mode, or I'm going to focus on the modes I know. Like, how many is too many for modes? Would it be, is 4 seem like the generic number you're usually into, or would you rather see 10 modes? I mean, Call of Duty, you go into Call of Duty, you start playing, and then you look over on the edge and there's all those modes and you're like, okay, little mutators or adjusters. What do you guys like?
I don't really play competitive multiplayer that much. I wouldn't say there's like a specific number or anything. It's just purely a question of, does the gameplay mode look fundamentally interesting in some way?
Fair enough, yeah.
And if it does, maybe I'll give it a try. But even if even if it clicks a little bit, I'm unlikely to get very deep into it if it's competitive.
You are.
Well, there's also.
Just wanted to ask him. Did you say you are more likely if it's competitive to get into it?
I'm less likely.
Less likely. That's what I thought you meant. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Johnny. What were you saying, bud?
Well, I'm totally aligned with that, and I was also just thinking that the more modes you have, the more you're splitting your player base. So probably healthier to have, 2 really solid modes, or maybe 3, and then just have everybody queuing up for those instead of just kind of like people trickling down into different things.
What sucks about that? Go ahead. Go for it, Silver.
I'm also with Battlefield specifically. I'm still traumatized by like the playing it in the 2000s and everybody team killing each other trying to hoard the vehicles.
Right.
Like in Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 2, that could be a significant issue in those games because players just killed each other trying to get to the vehicles or whatever. And that got old really, really quickly.
Yeah. It happens to me in a lot of games where it does. It depends on the player base. I was going to say it is interesting, though, that if the player base is massive, they're going to want more modes because you have a larger sample group playing your game with more diverse expectations that they may have. If you have a smaller one, it helps to have a smaller number so that, you can make sure that everything feels busy and people are able to get a ping that works for them, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I want to jump in. Everything I saw of it, Battlefield Vietnam. Anybody do that one? Or am I the only one who did that?
Yes, I did.
Man, that was ancient ago. Crank up the CPU bots and suddenly it's like 3 FPS and you're just pinging people from a mile away. But I like the idea of what I saw. Everything looked great
for that game. Wow.
I mean, yeah, dude. Yeah, phenomenal. I will say this. I saw the trailer where they were doing all the airplane stuff in this trailer for this new Battlefield. And I love watching the highlights of those people on YouTube. You watch somebody like leap out of an airplane, shoot somebody, spike their mom, fucking build a gravestone for him, pour the cement, leap back into the airplane, fly off. Weird shit. It's never something I want to do, but I absolutely love watching other people do it. So I hope that kind of anarchy is still there for other people to engage in it, because I quite enjoy watching people do that. To me, I want to kill as quick as possible. I don't care how fancy it is. I care that the other person is no longer able to do damage to anybody on my team. So I don't give a shit if it's with a brick, a shiv, a nuke, RPG, crashing the helicopter into them. But I love watching those people who are experienced at it do the nuttiest shit. And you'll just be watching it going, damn. Really? Or the old guy on YouTube, the old military guy on YouTube who shows people how to snipe correctly, and he like tells you exactly where to stand, and he's showing people shots that he takes and exactly where they go, and you're like, dude, that's awesome. That's so cool. I'm not saying it would work in the real world. I'm saying he's using real world tactics that somewhat adjust and work in the game, which is awesome. Let's see. Features a fictional conflict between Pax Armada, which is a rogue PMC. By the way, I just want to say, rogue PMC always cracks me up. What a weird way to like term something. But anyway, so they're going to be the bad guys. Very typical stuff. Where you're going to have the bad guys, and they'll have all their unique military, and then the rest of everybody will probably separated by their military or by their equipment. Weapons ranked by category or confirmed. The assault rifles, carbines, SMGs, LMGs, DMRs. Mid-range, versatile. Let's see, what do they got? Pretty much all the expected stuff you would expect there. They did state that no flashy or outlandish skins. This has always happened, but I do want to point out the funniness of it, just real quick. The shade every developer right now, and this is something we talked about almost a year and a half ago, where I was saying as the industry contracts, just like when your employment or employer you're working at starts to not spend a ton of money and you start contracting and donut day goes away, people start, that's when the backstabbing happens. That's when the backbiting starts happening. It is so crazy. It's like Kojima's like, yeah, nobody's doing anything other than indies. Yeah, he's every morning he's waking up and doing his shot of fucking Dragon Tail, whatever that dude's doing, taking some fucking turkey tail, pills he got from Joe Rogan, and he's like up there with some weird ass one-liner that he says, and then these guys are like, no flashy or outlandish skins, unlike Call of Duty. Just the amount of like the little bits of like shade that are thrown around. Now, admittedly, I think with Call of Duty and Black Ops, Battlefield, if you go back in time, there probably always was a little bit of, we don't do this, we do this kind of thing. But what's interesting is, do you guys feel that after 10, 15 years of saying that, nobody needs to hear it again? Of course you fucking don't. You haven't. So why do you continue to bring it up? It's such a weird, admittedly, new people are coming into gaming. I use that as an excuse, but it is funny to hear them drop the same shit we've known for years. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we don't do anything outlandish. And it's like, have you even played your own fucking campaigns? There's some pretty fucking outlandish shit that happens in those. It's like, oh dude, we're super realistic. Our ghillie suits are the proper color. Fucking comes in, leaps off of something, flies an F-16 through a fucking building, and you're like, come on, guys. At some point, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're all pretty goddamned outlandish to me. You're not Arma. If you want to step up to being realistic, you have about, 6, 7, 8 years of development to get anywhere near Arma when it comes to, like, being realistic.
Yeah. And speaking of being realistic, but in a different way, the trailers are not realistic, like you were saying. They're not really representative of the gameplay.
Though. They are the game.
They are the game, least. But they are like, when you see a montage in these competitive games of like, okay, like top headshots or whatever, that's not what it's like to play the game.
Yeah.
And so I highly encourage people, look up some like full runs or like full maps that people play so you can kind of see a bit more, the moment to moment. So it's, because it's not going to be this expectation of like, boom, blow up a building instantly. The next thing it's like, boom, we have this amazing, ambush. It's just not representative.
The cool thing is I like the competition between them. The shade doesn't make a ton of sense because they are dramatically different, which is, if Battlefield says we don't have zombies because they're not realistic, you'd be like, well, no shit, Sherlock. Like duh. But overall, regardless of what they say, if you look at the games, they've been different for a while, but they still overlap into that, shooter mentality, the deathmatch mentality. I like what I've seen from both of them. I actually think they look different enough to me that I'm not going to be in the mood to play both of them ever. What I mean by that is, from what I've seen, no matter what, when I wake up and I decide I'm going to play a first-person shooter, I have a feeling it'll either be absolutely on one side or the other. It's not going to be like, oh, I could, or they look like they even feel different. There's something about them. There's something, whether it be your time to kill, whether it be all that kind of stuff. That's cool to me. It still allows for them to be competitive, but at the same time offer something that's fairly different. And it certainly looks different. And the destruction, let's get Call of Duty doing more destruction, man, because destruction needs to be in every game. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So good. And this is developed by DICE, Criterion, Motive, and Ripple Effect. You know, man, I don't know who Ripple Effect is. I don't think I've...
I haven't heard of them.
I haven't heard of them. Yeah, maybe they're smaller. Maybe they're one of the assist teams.
I was also curious about how the destruction would look from the receiving end, because we always see like the POV of the tank blowing up a building, right? But I was curious, like for the Joe Blow who's in the building, what does it look like for them with like the walls coming down around them and stuff? Is that going to be? Is it going to look good? Is it a mess?
Last night I saw somebody in the midst of dying. A lot of times, and most of the time, it looked like every game you've ever seen. There was zero changes. It was Battlefield, Call of Duty, any military-based shooter. It all looked the same from their end, the dying end. However, there were a couple times where grenades were thrown and shit was blowing out that did look cool. I saw somebody come around a corner with two friends, and they went in a door, and a grenade went off, and you saw shit going through the walls and stuff. And I remember thinking to myself, they didn't see that. They didn't. Their brains, there was just too much going on. Just like in real military, where they'll be like, there's just too much going on. And so, but I did as a watcher. So I don't know, how all that's going to play out. I think it'll play out just like any other military game where it's going to look like debris and mist. And then you either die or you hide and hope to God that the smoke and the debris ends up dropping before they get to you. Overall, man,
you don't run into collision issues and get stuck in like debris or something.
I didn't see it, and that's what I'm watching for, man. I'm really hoping they've figured out a way to do it, make it look good, but not make it catch players stuck between two slabs of concrete, right? Because that'd suck balls. It would be a cool thing for a couple days, but then after a while, I think people would be like, all right, this is just frustrating, getting stuck on everything. Vapor Blood says, at least this campaign will be more than 3 hours long. Yeah, so so it sounds like he wants a campaign. I want the campaign. I really don't like any game without a campaign. That's just me, personally. But I haven't really liked a Battlefield campaign in a long fucking time. I mean...
Yeah.
4 games, maybe 5 games ago, where I really... There was 1 or 2 that were okay, but I mean like liked. So yeah, I'm excited to see if, you say that it's not going to be 3 hours long. What if it's 4? Not much better. You know what I mean?
Longer.
Technically, well, 4 inches versus 5 can make a difference. But yeah, I want to see what that ultimately means for the...
The only one I've really heard people talk positively about was Bad Company.
Yeah, same. Well, yes. Yeah, same. I've heard some other stuff that was generally overall positive in a Michael Bay, but that one goes beyond, and I think it's considered.
And I did hear some positive stuff about the campaign in Battlefield 1. I thought that campaign was okay, but it was also completely forgettable, frankly.
That wasn't the jump into other people's bodies ones, was it? Was that the Battlefield where you got killed, or where no matter what, you got killed and then you jumped into somebody else's body? Or was that not that one?
I don't think they all got killed, all the protagonists. I don't think they all died, no.
Okay. Thinking of a different one then. Since they're all in with EA, what do you think of a success or failure for the company? Wild One says, since they are all in with EA, what do you think of a success or failure for the company? Can you explain that a little bit more for me, sir? What that means? Oh. Do you think they will merge all divisions into one like COD? No. Do you guys? I don't see that happening very much. Because if you have one unwieldy company and it doesn't do well even once, you're going to be fucking paying. You're going to be like laying them off Yeah, it's like with small ones, you could always hire out some of the smaller teams to like go help another group. Or I like the idea of keeping it mobile, man. You know, you got like 5 or 6, you hire them in like contractors, right? In a way, obviously they still work for them, but Battlefield 3 has different campaigns.
Makes sense to diversify for them, right?
Absolutely.
You don't want the eggs in the same basket situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other thing Silver was reminding me of is that they're teaming up with creators, not like YouTube influencers, shitheads like myself, but actual people who have talent, modders and stuff, or creators of I guess sometimes levels and assets or something. But I don't really know what that means. I don't know if we're going to see mods for this that are officially supported or what. If somebody knows that, give me a heads up on it, because I would like to know what their stance is on this kind of stuff, because I keep seeing it popping up, like the Battlefield Labs. Like, is that a mod thing? Because admittedly, once I saw that, I just noted it and moved on. Standard edition is $70, by the way. Christopher Jetser, $10. BF6 looks great. In terms of shooters, October has BF6, Kingmakers, Early Access, and Arc Raiders. All offer something different. Just wish I had more time to play. Fall gaming is jam-packed. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Dude, can I give you guys just one, I think, a good indicator of how weird gaming is? Arc Raiders disappearing. I mean, it fucking flatly disappeared. Now, will it come back? Yes, of course. But what I'm saying is it was like on top of everybody's tongue. It was like everybody was talking about it, but it really does show how not only how many games there are, but the tangential attitude everybody has towards any game. It's like, oh, well, that one's out. Maybe I'll get to it. Now it's releasing in a busy time. We'll see. It does offer something different, but like Chris said, you only got a certain amount of time to play. And unless your job is playing games, which trust me, sucks. Just joking. Doesn't suck. But I mean, I wouldn't want to cover 3 of those. I'd want to cover 2 of those. I want to cover Kingmakers and BF6 if I had my druthers, especially Kingmakers. Kingmakers is the one, if you guys remember, where like you're leaping into fucking, Datsun pickups and taking on armored knights and shit. Like,
yeah, what a weird mix.
It is weird, but it could also be the weirdness that like turns into the streaming thing, which turns into, it exploding and suddenly some, Republican or Democrat is on Twitch streaming it, pretending they fucking in with the crowd, which is the typical thing to do right now, and quite easily fools people, which is so weird. You would think that a group so consistently paranoid would see through that shit, but you'll see people be like, they're trustworthy. Why? Because they were on Twitch playing fucking Among Us. And you're like, dude, come on, man. That shit's been done for ages. You saw Clinton playing the sax on Arsenio, man, right? Then he was banging somebody. Got to realize these people, they're all the same. What about Battlefield? What else? Is it on Xbox and PlayStation 4? Is this on the older stuff? I don't think Battlefield's on the older ones, right? I think
it's on older gen.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I could be wrong.
Just imagine. That'd be pretty rough if they were. Are you looking, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
I feel like that'd be a rough go if they were on the older system. Wild One says, since they're not doing skins, where do you think they will get the money from expansions like Sims or BF2? SBZ, like AOC. That's actually who I meant. I couldn't remember who the fuck it was because now a ton of people done it. But they'll get their money from most likely still doing skins. They just won't have wild skins. And they'll probably try to aim that at the military guys who always dreamed of being in the military, but couldn't stop dreaming about that fucking double burrito that they bought each night, so they couldn't pass the test. So most likely it'll be that. Does that
it's
battle
only
passes?
For PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and Windows.
Smart. Yeah. Overall, now listen to this, guys. Here's the specs. Listen to this. Minimum for 1080p 30 FPS. GPU is an RTX 2060, an Intel i5 8400 or a Ryzen 5 2600, 16 gigs of RAM. 16 gigs, by the way, anybody who's complaining about their Windows machine being required to play and have 16 gigs, dude, you don't need to come to the future. Just come 10 years ago. 16 gigs, you should have 16 gigs in your fucking system. Come on. Recommended 1440p for 60 FPS is a RTX 3060 Ti. and a Ryzen 7 3700X or an i7 10700. I've never pronounced that right. 10700. What do they call that? 107. We'll just go 107,000. That's what we're going to call it. The Intel i7 107,000. And that's
their names are really difficult
dude, come on,
to say.
Listen to this too. They have a note that says secure boot must be enabled in BIOS for PC players. So copy protection kind of thing there. Thought that was interesting. Yo dog, $10. So Alcat Games just made adverts for pre-ordering WK 40K Dark Heresy with no release date inside. Big fan of the studio, but I found that kind of odd. Thoughts?
Yeah, that is pretty.
That is weird.
That does sound strange.
That does sound strange. So, are you saying the pre-orders are live and there's no?
I mean, it basically sounds like a Kickstarter.
That's a Kickstarter. Yeah, that's a Kickstarter by any other name, right?
Yeah,
because yes, you'll have to return the money if you don't. Dude, there's all kinds of shit with that. I'll just say this, man. Don't go out there. Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you. You guys already know. I don't feel like I need to tell you. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I haven't heard a single word about that, but I do know. I've been talking a bunch to Omar. He's been playing the 40K. What was it? The one that came out, Rogue Trader.
And also,
really enjoying that.
Also specifically with Alcat. I mean, their games aren't even finished when they release.
They're just kicked. They don't even have the starter part. Bro,
I mean, frankly,
I love their games a year and a half after they come out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not only that you have to wait years for the game to actually release, you also have to then wait like a year after release for it to be tolerably stable.
Hugely excited for whatever they do. I will tell you this. QA is their biggest weakness, their second biggest weakness. And we can all joke around and say, oh, it's because the rules are complex. As somebody who's done D&D for years, and I've seen, whether it be video games or in pen and paper, there are ways that you can do formula and stuff that don't require you to have a fucking scrolling window on your game, or don't require the player to sit down with a piece of paper to figure out what their plus to a hit is. There's one of the biggest issues with their games lately, is the display of the rules, HUD, UI, UX, as well as the rule systems themselves. I would like to see them. I don't know if I want to call it an easy mode for people who want to jump in, because I don't know what my level is. My level's definitely expert, as in I do those rules normally, so they don't surprise me. But a lot of people I get who play those games are like, dude, I have no clue what this thing's even fucking saying. So what build are you? I don't know. Well, why don't you know? Because I don't even understand some of the formulas on some of these rules in some of the games. Like, they're so long. It's Pathfinder kind of thing that pops up.
When Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous released, there was a whole lot of the skills that had no descriptions at all.
No description at all.
Damn.
Just got to go. Dude, I remember, man, you played when you're a kid and you got a bag of dice and you drive out into the woods and decide to play some D&D with your friends on the back of your car, and you're fucking just making shit up, and you're like, what skills do you want? And they're, when you're a kid and you're just, I want zigzaggy and fighter. You're like, okay, that's technically just two-handed fighting, but we're going to call it that because you love the name. And you just throw some shit out there and you make it up on the fly. But with a video game, that shit should be there day one. Like, you need if you got a skill, it probably needs to have its.
And that's not even like a bunch of the skills were, of course, also broken and didn't work. But but fundamentally, a lot of them just didn't have any text descriptions or anything at all to designate what they actually were supposed to do.
They know what they're doing. I'll tell you.
Early access.
Yeah, that's
level.
Yeah, it's like not even Kickstarter. Just, I would say at this point, nothing surprises me in gaming, but I will look into this story because that does surprise me from them. I'll just say that. Not saying you don't know what you're talking about. You obviously do. I'm just saying I'll check into it. We're asked a question by Slice Booster, Telegram, I think. If you, Silver, Reg, and Johnny all visited Reg for a 2-day weekend, but on his way back from picking y'all up from the airport, the car broke down, what would you guys do? First of all, this is a complete lie. Reg would not pick us up from the fucking airport.
True.
Sorry.
No way.
Did he pick you up from the airport? Or did you visit him, or did he visit you?
He visited me.
Did you pick him up?
To be honest, I didn't.
See, it ain't fucking
Fair
happening.
play.
It ain't. I'm just saying
No.
it's not happening. But let's say it did, and he's driving up to his house in the Alps, which is I originally thought he somehow lived in the Alps. But regardless, we drive up, the car breaks down. What do? He doesn't say. He says 2-day weekend, but on the way back from picking y'all up from the airport, the car breaks down. What do? To pass the time, maybe? To pass the time? You know what? We'd have a wicked ass.
It is a pretty decent bet that we'd be in the Alps, given Austria.
We would play a wicked ass D&D game. I'd DM him on a D&D game until somebody either pulled over to help us out. Yeah, we'd play D&D. I could figure it out. We'd do a D&D game until somebody came to help us.
Camp out there.
Yeah,
As a good Austrian, he would have a tent in his, in his car.
Reg with the tent. Okay, no, Reg does camp occasionally, but in his car or in the rented car, because it wouldn't be his, right? He doesn't even own a car. Can Reg drive? Yes, he can drive. Right?
I think he can. Yeah,
I think he can drive. Yeah, but he just doesn't. Right where he lives. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we do, and probably. I mean, in all honesty, where I think he lives versus where he does live is probably so not connected. But
so
I really
you're picturing like the.
I picture a Microsoft Windows
Himalayas.
background. No, I picture like the soaring mountain and a Forza road. Because one day he told me he was driving to the Alps, and I mistook. I legit thought he meant like a Maserati, and so for days I thought that's what he was talking about. But that's in my brain. I would have to see his place. But yeah, good question. Thank you much, Sliced Booster, for the support as well. Looks like you're a patron as well. Thank you very much for that. Patron always helps. You know something that bothered me a couple days ago? I was talking to a patron. We were talking about martial arts or something like that. With the advent of video and everything, I think it's amazing that you can see like a video on Facebook or YouTube. You see somebody pull something off in a UFC, or you see somebody do a kata. You know, Facebook is in particular big for this. I'm not quite sure why, but I get a lot of these videos. But one thing that disturbs me, man, this is just a true disturbing thing. There is no joke in this. When I was a little kid, you would have the very occasional fist fight, very occasional. And it'd be over like somebody's milk, right? You know, something stupid. Or you'd be with your friend, you grab their jacket, they punch you in the head, whatever, you're done. I can go online and find an endless supply of 8 and 9-year-olds beating the fuck out of each other. Beating the living fuck out of each other. On video, to the point of knockout, where a 9-year-old gets knocked out, and we're worried about adult games on Steam. Like, what a fucking weird world we live in, where I can go and see that, and you know, these stores where like you can control who buys your shit, you can do everything. I can go onto YouTube and see the craziness of that. And dude, they're not taken down. Happened to pop up in my chat, and I was like looking at YouTube and Facebook and going like, whoa, that's like 2 8 or 9-year-olds, man. And the 9-year-olds taking off their, you know, wife beater t-shirt, the shirt that like CJ wears in GTA, with the, you know, short, tears it off. Is like 9, and they're just pummeling one another. And then, of course, YouTube, right? YouTube suggested a shit ton of toddlers beating each other. And I was like, I don't know if I had entered the
algorithm.
I don't know if I entered the dark web of the algorithm or what, but I was like, damn, man. You know, as somebody who like feels that stuff happens sometimes, it's not as big deal as people think. That's a big deal, because they felt like fights. I mean, you know, there used to be bum fights. That was a thing for a while, where people would pay, you know, 2 people who were homeless to fight. And it became sort of a big deal until it got sort of banned, whatever. It was like child fights, man. I don't know. It was a ridiculous thought process that I went through when I was looking at it going, man, we see all this amazing stuff, and I can learn tech, and I can learn Silver's native language if I want it on YouTube. And at the same time, I can find fucking 2 8-year-olds fighting over a juice box, and one of them getting knocked out.
For most people.
What'd you say?
Unlikely, sadly, for most people. Ambitious though, but learning Danish.
Learning your language, dude. I pick it up in a day, man. What's the term? Polyglot. That's me. Polyglot sounds like something that, like if you have strep, and it gets.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's what most people would say. Danish. That's what most people actually say.
They say Danish sounds like. Yeah.
Like a throat condition.
Yeah, bad throat condition. What else do we got for small bits of news here? Are we done with Battlefield?
Yeah, I think so. I was going to say Grounded 2, if you wanted to talk about that. Sounded like you played a bit too.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. It was technically, it was not where it should be from a tech standpoint. That was for sure. It was nowhere near where I thought it was even going to be as an early access. I had a ton of bugs. No pun intended, I just realized.
Okay, yeah.
I can't say it again, but a ton. A ton of glitches. We'll say it that way. And I played for about 4 to 6 hours, and I was disappointed despite already knowing it was early access. Much more disappointed than I thought I was going to be. It doesn't mean it can't turn out to be awesome, and it doesn't mean it wasn't a one-off, but in the music Discord I was in, a bunch of people jumped in and they were streaming it, and they were having all sorts of there's issues everywhere. Right. And I think there might be a difference, guys. Well, I think we all know this. There's a difference between early access and earliest access, right? I feel like this one, a little closer to earliest access than early. That's my personal opinion. That was my experience. What'd you have, Johnny? Was yours better?
Well, it was better. On the technical side, it's certainly a bit rough. You have 0 options for graphics.
0.
You just have the profiles, by the way. Like,
or low, at least.
High, epic, good luck, and,
we hope you know what you're doing, and you're I have no clue.
and by the way, they don't change that much. I had a friend down in like medium. He was streaming the game. It looked pretty much like, exactly the same.
Right.
So disappointing on that end, no DLSS and stuff like that. And the game is very demanding. It is Unreal 5. So it's got quite a bit going on. And especially if you're trying to do 4K, the game struggles massively. I would say I ended up running it in 1440p to have like a stable 60. I would say it's already bigger than the first game, which is cool. So like the starting map you have now is a fraction of the full map. Right. You can see what the full map is going to be, by the way. It's all kind of grayed out, and it's going to be like 4 times what's available now. Yeah. And even what we have now is already bigger, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have a lot of different biomes and stuff. The variety in weapons and playstyles is quite good, because now weapons also have sets.
Add-ons or sets or something.
Add-on, that type like effect. So if you have like the full set for I think it's the Weaver, then you have like the Rogue thing where I think it's your finishers of your combos are stronger, that type of stuff. So you have sets you can do that synergize with the type of weapon you're going to be using. That's kind of cool. I like the variety there. Sadly, a lot of stuff that we already had in the first one, because of course it was completed, it was iterated many times over, is not present yet here. So you have the weirdness where you had all this cool stuff in the first game already, like zip lines and different things like that are still in the roadmap. And to give you an idea, because they put out the roadmap, zip lines are coming out next summer, not like this summer. That's how far wide.
Wow. Okay.
The net is cast for some of these things. So some of these things are only being caught like a year from now or longer. So it's going to be a very long road. What's there now, I think, is cool from almost like a tech demo standpoint, where you jump in. It's beautiful looking. When it's working and you have all the foliage and the bugs burrowing in the ground and the sounds and everything. That's awesome. But there isn't a ton there that you can, let's say, build or get into yet. The story is not something, or maybe they will improve it. Right now it's pretty like placeholder feeling. So it's quite lean, I'm going to be honest. Yeah. It's, in a way, it's already bigger than the first one, but in some other ways, it's lacking a lot of stuff that the first one put in over the time, years, I think.
Yeah. Even though
were
we knew
working
it
on
was
it.
going to have less, because it's early access again, it still feels.
Yeah.
We've seen this happen with other games where you're like, yes, I know there's less, but at the same time, there is some stuff like a larger area or not the retreaded area you've done before that entices you. And then you can't do a lot of the stuff you were accustomed to. It's odd with early access. It's odd. And this is not the first game to do it, so it's just the way it is. What about you, Silver? Did you do Grounded 1?
I did not know.
Did not do Grounded 1.
Not a huge fan of the survival.
Yeah,
builder
so there you go with that. So first of all, I just got to say, I don't know if it was a bug. I'm assuming it was a bug. But when I popped in, a bunch of ants were moonwalking backwards towards me. And so then as they moonwalked backwards towards me, they went up like they went up and they went onto the ceiling and stuff. I was like, okay, all that's cool. They're going backwards. I've seen that before. I saw Skyrim with all the backwards flying dragons.
Yeah.
I can take some bugs. But I do have to admit, when I started grabbing shit, sort of like what Silver is saying, I started grabbing stuff and I realized that the moment you start getting one of 32 of anything, a lot needs to be in your game for me to stay with it, because you know what the loops are, after a while. So I feel like this is a good game if people haven't played it and they want to see what Grounded 2 may have. But I do see that I feel like it was early, just a little too early. It needed a little bit more going on to entice even the moment you stepped in, which is what I was doing. And I'm okay with early access in the fact that I understand that they'll be buggier. But without the ability to change shit, like Johnny said, I couldn't even get the FPS where I wanted. I mean, I was able to get it. But have you guys ever done that thing? It's almost like if you're driving in a car and it's making a fucking bunch of sound and you hit a bump and it goes away. And you're like, is that away forever? Obvious. If you believe it.
Unsettling.
That's very unsettling. Like, did the body fall out of the trunk? But we all know entropy. Shit doesn't collect. It doesn't like self-assemble into something better. So you
The
know that
teapot
rattle's
come
going to
back
get worse. Right. The rattle's going to come back. But with games, obviously, it's sort of the opposite of that. But early access is that weird thing where you get done and you had the rattle. It all gets fixed. It's all gone. And then it comes back spontaneously in different places. And so you're constantly like looking around going, what can I do here? Is this broken or have they changed the mechanic? Is this mechanic not in the game? Very, very difficult to do, I think, 2 early access games that don't change very much, which this one is not, in the fact that it's the exact same sort of idea, plot line, gameplay mechanic. So we'll have to see. What about Dune? Any of you guys jump into Dune? Me neither.
No, I watched a bunch of it, but I didn't play myself.
I don't know. There was not a single thing that I saw that made me even want to look at the store to install it. Did anything for Dune catch your eye? Was there anything that you saw?
That it was Dune.
That it was Dune, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was pretty much
I thought
the
some
only
of the
the only, yeah.
Yeah, some of the structures looked pretty cool and belonging to that world in a cool way.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the mechanics looked fun for a game of that type.
Okay,
I could see myself playing it, but I think also the consensus is that there isn't a ton to do once you get to a certain point in the game, because it's early. They just haven't really developed a ton of stuff for when you get past a certain point. So that's honestly, it depends. If you're the kind of person who you want to stick with the game for 100 hours, it's not there yet. If you just want to go have a stint, play a few hours, build some cool stuff, I think it's in a good spot for that.
Okay, very good. Very cool. I didn't get far enough, so I trust you. As in, I didn't watch far enough to even identify if it was in I guess you would consider it a safe spot or a good spot for that place. So, yeah, I mean, I like Dune, but if you guys told me that Dune was coming So if there's 4 ways Dune could be delivered to gamers: RTS, turn-based something, RPG, third-person, Mass Effect style, or survival. Survival would be on the lowest of my desire. MMO survival style would be the lowest that I want. So that's just me and what I'm looking for. So not against Dune, the game, at all. That's just quite literally what it is. I would probably look the most towards a Mass Effect style, or, you know, I don't mean to say they need to spend that much. I'm just saying that kind of game. Turn-based might be cool.
An XCOM, like a Fremen raid.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, the turn-based, right? You could do, dude, and setting up plans to go and attack the enemies, raiding the Harkonnens. Okay, see, there you go. Right now, that right there, I think you just described what I would want. That would be cool. I had not thought about that, but that turn-based, hiring Fremen as like specialists, going out there trying to take on the different family. Yeah, that'd be cool. Very cool. I like that idea. It's called early access for a reason. No shit. Wouldn't that be weird though if it wasn't? It was just called done, even though it's not. It would be very odd. BF Clip is still playing, but yes, they're talking about Grounded. Oh, sorry. BF Clip. Hey, dude, BF is so cool. I'm just going to leave that clip running. I'm just joking. Let me turn that off. Thanks for informing me, even though you didn't. Anyway, that one's off. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the thing is, the consistency with early access is very variant. You can have, you know, some level of early access that's already pretty good. You know, the game is like fully playable. It's got a story beginning to end. It's just more stuff's going to be added over time. We've had some of those really good ones.
Definitely.
But then you have these kind of husks of a game, especially, let's be honest, in the survival genre. I mean, dude, we've had some legit husks of games come out.
Yeah, just the spirits are all that's
the framework
left of them.
is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got like, you know, the engine is running, technically. They got like a few interactions.
Like the raft.
But then any...
You're saying...
I'm still holding a grudge, by the way.
You
can do a ton of things, and there was a dome.
There was a dome. Anyway, continue. Sorry, I'll stop.
Yeah.
You are right,
to be fair, early, it wasn't very good, the raft.
Right.
There wasn't a ton, and that's where you see also the problem when you visit one of these games that early, and maybe, you know, this is the thing with Grounded as well right now, is if you jump in now, it might kind of burn all your interest in ever coming back in a weird way, because you've already seen the grass, you've already...
What'd you say?
Yeah, so I think that...
bad first impression.
Bad first impression. Gotcha. Yeah.
Maybe not even bad, but like it might give you the impression that you've already experienced the game when really what you've seen is, you know, but a shadow of the
because the
game.
first impressions tend to linger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, bad impression does also work in both ways. Bad as in could be inaccurate impression. Bad as in a truly bad impression. So regardless, you come out of it. Both those sort of fit, though ultimately I don't think many people use bad to indicate in that frame of reference. Rarely ever use it to indicate an incorrect assessment of the early access. But yeah. Dude, I don't know. You know, I'm a big fan of Dune, the original. I like the new movies somewhat. I like the world in general. But yeah, just, you know, it's one of the genres that doesn't fit. You hear that a lot of times. You'll get somebody saying, oh, I wish whatever Age of Empires was turn-based or whatever. You know, they don't say that, but somebody probably does. But, you know, it's just one of those genres that doesn't fit exactly in. And I think one of your favorite games, Subnautica, was early access. And I played that, and that was fucking rough. When that, and obviously turned into one of the greater, I think, examples of the early access sort of format. But
yeah.
Did you like the Dune show, by the way, Carrick?
So I have not watched the one with the Vikings actor, the new one, and I'm excited to watch it, especially when he was asked on his recent interview what he thought of Dune. And this is this guy, man. This is like the Daniel Day-Lewis. He's like, I don't know anything about Dune, and I don't really like fantasy, but they paid me, And so I said some words, and I was like, okay, I really want to see it now. That actually excited me to see it. What I saw looked good. I did like Children of Dune from years ago, 20 years ago or whatever, the Children of Dune that covered William Hurt, I think. No, John Hurt. William Hurt. They covered it. I do like Dune. I will watch that. I do want to see it. And graphically, it looked, or, film-wise, it looked great.
Pretty good as a character piece.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I will. Matter of fact, I'll just put it on the list to watch it today, because maybe that'll get me into it too.
The effects are solid.
That's what I heard, was that the effects are solid, which that matters to me in TV shows. Sometimes you get that. Did you guys see the trailer for War of the Worlds? The new trailer for the War of the Worlds movie?
No.
Ice Cube. Dude, I don't know how this is humanly possible, but they are worse special effects than something 20 years ago. You guys should go see it. They got Eva Longoria.
And the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie.
Way better. You gotta see the trailer, man. I cannot believe that is a real thing. It is some of the worst special effects I've ever seen, and a big number of actors. Actually, I was quite surprised by how many big actors they got in it. But hey, paychecks are paychecks, right? Abbreviated review says, I have a friend really into Dune, but nothing about it looks interesting. Yeah, same thing.
Oh, dude, they're doing that documentary, like, point of view for that movie, where like a lot of the footage is from
Cloverfield
recorded.
Cloverfield, as well as through the webcam on this computer as somebody works. There's a really popular movie. The ending bothered a lot of people, but there was a very popular one that involved a guy looking for his daughter who had been kidnapped, and most of it was him staring at the screen and looking through DMs of hers. And the guy who played Sulu in the new Star Trek movies, I think it was Harold and Kumar. I think he was one of them. And he did a great job, a dark movie, but he did a great job with that, looking through the webcam at the person's face. And that's the way Ice Cube is for this entire movie. But everybody else is, found footage, YouTube video, that kind of stuff. Here on Business, $5 super chat. Just checking in to say hello. And thanks as always for the podcast. Johnny knows I listen to it washing dishes. So
that sounds wrong. There's nothing weird about that.
I don't know. It sounds really weird. Abbreviated review says, obviously didn't work out for Steel Hunters. The game shut down 3 months after a brief launch, and it was even that bad. I think he meant to say it wasn't even that bad. Gotcha. Okay. Does it top the Rock Scorpion King effects in Mummy Returns? It's worse. And I will die on that sword. Go look at it. It will stun you, because back then graphics were hard to do of a certain level, and above that meant you had escalating levels of expertise. This is horrendous in all ways. And I'm not talking B-movie horrendous. I mean legitimately things don't make sense. Go watch it. Moving on from there. What else do we got here for news? Oh, so this was reported, and I know I talked about it in a side podcast. Johnny and I may have talked about it a couple podcasts ago. I can't remember. But a game hit the most concurrent players ever in a game, and nobody's talking about it. It was brought up on Reddit, but I did want to point this out. 21.3 million concurrent players in the mod for Roblox.
Wow.
Grow a Garden is what it's called. Industry record. In 21.3. Well, this says okay, sorry. There's two indicators here. One says 213 million. Give me 1 second, because I think the 213. Nope, 21.3. Yeah, 21.3 million. Okay. 21.3 million playing a game. Yeah, concurrent usually doesn't mean much, but if 21.3 million people are showing up to play a game at the same time, doesn't matter if you like the game or not. A lot of people do. That shit's crazy. 7 times higher than concurrent player count record of any game Steam in history. PUBG. Damn. That's insane.
Yeah, so PUBG has a 3.2 million record. all
Damn.
time.
And how old's PUBG now?
Yeah.
A decade? 7?
It came out in 2017, almost 10. Well,
Almost 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
coming up on that.
8 plus years. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's absolutely insane. That is freakish numbers. Imagine trying to get 21.3 million people to do anything. Right? Vast experiences, vast backgrounds, vast times to play. That's the other thing. All across the world. 21.3 million, that's bigger than any sporting event that's ever been, locally, obviously, probably not televised. But I'm just saying, like, 21.3, it's nothing to scoff at, man. That's a couple American states right there. The smaller ones.
You know what's interesting too? Number 2 on that list I just
what is it?
Checked out. It's Black Myth Wukong in terms of all-time peak.
Oh, right. Yeah, the Chinese release time of that hit at a perfect time. It's a huge deal to them. It would be like us having a game called, Uncle Sam, and it was Friday, or it was like
big
fucking
cultural
fireworks shooting
thing.
hero. Yeah. Or I don't know what your guys' equivalent, but it really is to them ingrained, just like certain things are to every nation. And you rarely get one that turns into a game. It was a big deal. And by the way, a great game. So like it helped because you didn't see the dump. It was like, instead of seeing the dump, people were like, holy shit, this is actually good. And so it just climbed up. So Black Myth is number 2. What's number 3? You got the list there? Give us the
Power World. Yeah. Power World's number 3 at 2.1 million. We're talking about like all-time peak.
I know. That's insane. Those numbers, that's mind-blowing. What
and
else?
Also, like, this one was on Game Pass, and huge numbers played on Game Pass. So if you think about that, the number must be even way higher than that.
Way higher, yeah.
Then you have Counter-Strike 2 at 1.8 million, and at number 5, Monster Hunter Wilds at 1.3 million.
Monster Hunter Wilds, really? Surprised.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
nuts. Pretty good numbers for them, man, for that game.
Did you see the little report that was saying that Devil May Cry 5 sold more than Wilds? Or not Wilds. What's the one that just came out? Is that Wilds?
It is Wilds, yeah.
Sold more than that.
Damn.
That game.
Oh, because of the show, right? Because they did the DMC show on Netflix, the animated show.
Could be.
And I think I saw a huge surge in purchases for the HD remaster trilogy something.
Hey, they did a Monster Hunter live action movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Was that with Jolovich? Wasn't Jolovich?
No, I don't think so.
Really? Oh, I thought Jolovich did Monster Hunter. Okay.
I don't think she was in Monster Hunter. I honestly don't even remember who was in it.
Yeah.
So
that one came and went, right? That's one of those like movies that you're all, dude.
I didn't see it.
I'll see the Resident Evil ones. I don't know why. Probably because once you invest in watching them a couple times, if you're like, okay, whatever, I sort of know what's going on here. But Monster Hunter never interested me either, as a fiction, for watching a TV show.
Yeah.
What's this? Gerstmann was on it. He has kids, though. I don't know what that means. Anybody think Metal Gear Solid Delta Airlines is just a straight up nostalgic cash grab? Oh, Delta Airlines. Straight up. I mean, I would say it would have been a cash grab, but they've spent more money on this times like 40 versus the original game. I think we have far past it being a cash grab.
Yeah, I would agree, because if it was just that, it would just be the
a
HD
port, right?
remaster again.
Yeah, absolutely.
The HD remaster port again.
I firmly believe Metal Gear.
The repackaged version.
Metal Gear to me is the idea of, can we do a good game? Will it sell without certain people being involved? And if so, should we move forward? That is honestly what I feel. I feel they're putting a shit ton of money in it, so definitely not. Mila Jovanovic was the star of Monster Hunter.
Oh, she was?
Yep,
oh, okay.
She was. Okay. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I was right for once. Especially with her, because she's in all those shit movies, right? She was in the other one.
All
that
the
was
Resident
like,
Evil ones?
Yeah, but what's the chromatic one that like they tried to... Ultraviolet? Does that sound right?
No, that was Charlize Theron.
Theron. Yeah.
This one is the one where she's like running around. It was and she does a motorbike stunt that's one of the worst graphics effects motorbike stunts you've ever seen in your life. It was I thought it was
I think
Ultraviolet.
you are thinking of Ultraviolet. Yeah.
Thought that
But
was,
that's not her. They have a similar air, but not.
because
not
Atomic
same.
Blonde is Charlize. But Ultraviolet, I think I'm right.
Ultraviolet is
Aeon
Charlize.
Flux
Yeah.
Nope,
is
I'm right.
also-
Boom. Jeremy got 2
Wait,
right
really?
in a row.
Okay.
Ultraviolet is Mila. You're thinking of Atomic Blonde, which is an Aeon Flux, perhaps.
You're right. Aeon Flux. Oh, damn.
Boom,
Okay.
twice.
You
Twice.
were right.
Mark this down.
Yeah, I did
Only
start
time you
darting
ever-
ever-
when I
Okay.
thought about Aeon Flux.
Mark it down. Aeon Flux was a great liquid MTV like cartoon, man. When that came out, that cartoon was a mind fuck. I remember watching that cartoon just being like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sort of into it. And then I saw the movie and I was like, well,
Yeah.
terrible movie. What about The Fifth Element with her? What about it? No, Fifth Element was good.
Yeah. Good movie.
Fifth Element was one of the better movies that I ever saw Bruce Willis in, honest truth. I mean, I obviously love Die Hard, but I actually think his comedic timing was fucking on point in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
his comedic...
And they had a funny dynamic, like
Dude,
Mila
it was...
with him
yeah.
and
Too
stuff.
bad.
Yep.
Just too bad I can't divorce it from the director anymore. when I
Luc
watch it.
Besson.
Yeah.
Well, he also directed one of the Transporters, 1 or 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I love
Total
those
super
movies,
creep,
but he is super creepy. By the way, do you want to know how creepy he is? We already know. But an interview with her about her getting the job for Fifth Element is high creep factor, even though she doesn't know it is. You should go watch a YouTube video where she talks about getting the job and a random assistant coming down to the swimming pool and taking her from her boyfriend to go up and meet him in his room and all this weird shit. And she's just talking. She's just doing an interview. She's not really like thinking outside the box on even what the appearance is, and it's her life. In no way, shape, or form can I say it was creepy if she didn't think it was creepy. But I heard the explanation of it and I was like, I don't know, man, that sounds right there like some human trafficking was just this close. Maybe that's what the Transporter was technically.
Basically groomed his friend's like 12-year-old daughter and basically...
Yeah, he's done some weird shit. Yeah. The Jackal had Jack Black in it. Yeah, the Jackal was awesome. MTV Liquid Television. Yeah, those were good days. Good days. Moving on from there, I asked a question. Which game's main menu music do you want to walk into your wedding to or walk out to? These are as even as I've ever seen, and I just want to say unacceptable in all ways, because Wii Shop Channel music was one of the options, and it's actually beating out Halo and Elden Ring. So either people are taking the piss. They got to be taking the piss. Nobody's going to vote. I can't remember what that music is, but I was like, picked it up out of the blue.
I would say
Skyrim would be cool.
the main theme for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Ooh, that's a far before my take. I don't even know the theme.
Elden Ring would be funny. Just like walking into a boss arena.
But I mean, think of Skyrim. Oh. And you're just like, you come. I mean, maybe it'd work. It probably would work, depending on your
Yeah,
attitude.
you can make it
towards
work.
Yeah, you definitely could. I mean, dude, we can make anything work. We're that cool. Moving on from there, looking at some more baby itsy bitsy tiny news. Oh, so I was asked recently, like, well, I'll get to that in a second. Actually, no big deal. I can pop back on that one. You had on here Housemark talking about struggles growing into a AAA studio. So
Yeah.
did you read this article? Did they consider the past game Returnal? Did they consider that to be AA, and now they're saying they're going to AAA, or did they consider Returnal AAA and the difficulty they had prior to going into that? Do you know?
Yeah, so they said, I'm not sure if this is talking about Returnal, but they said in the first project, the first development deal they got, won the studio £71,000,
Okay.
which they said now pays for a couple working days.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
For, you know, like,
couple days
that is
of
crazy.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, just running. Yeah, they just had a few comments like saying there's like a threshold of the company size when things start to break down, and like the organization doesn't work in the same way, and like the hiring of people is really tricky because you need to make sure they're really high quality people that are not also going to dilute the the productivity of other people in the team.
Yeah.
So
right.
a lot of stuff like that, and they're talking about like policy changes you need to put in, processes, like your culture needs to be on point, right? So that everybody's kind of going towards the right thing. I thought that was interesting. We rarely hear about, as blurry as the line is between AA and AAA, we never really hear about that transition. It's almost like your studio is born AAA, like
well.
Like people say you're born with the beard already.
Yeah, well, I was. I mean, the beard grew a human.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love that kind of thing because I do believe that perhaps also Housemarque might be one of the only companies that did it. Honest truth is, it feels sometimes like you'll get these AAA companies that roll up or they're small and they see success. And then they have all these disasters, including the policies and all this shit. And you're like, how did you have all these disasters? That shit should have been like written down somewhere. Like how did this or this occur? Maybe the reason why they're talking about it is they've also seen that there's been a general lack, and quick growth can make that possible. I mean, I've seen companies grow so quick they don't even know who to hire as a HR. I'll give an example. I worked for 3 years at my last company. No HR person. Now, was it awesome? Yeah. I'm not saying crazy shit happened. But it was because everybody trusted everybody, and it was small getting to medium, getting to large. No HR person at all. It worked, but it could have gone completely south because your HR was either your boss or the fucking CEO. So people knew, don't go to the CEO with your shit. That'd be ridiculous. Yeah. So it was handled.
And if you happen to have an issue with your manager,
yes,
pretty tough.
Right. Yeah. It was very tough. I remember having a tough discussion where I didn't meet a criteria that I had no clue I was supposed to meet. And there was nobody there to even, luckily my boss at that time at least understood, and she talked to somebody that had sort of hired me, and we all got together and we hashed it out. But I mean, hey, listen, I don't like HR people as much as anybody, but at the same time, sometimes it's nice to have somebody there that you can be like, I think we need to get everybody in a room and just sort of figure out what's happening right now. Like, I hate it, but at times when you get a ton of people, you know how it is. You get somebody at work where you're trying to be nice to them and you think everything's and you're just like, we don't like each other, man. So now we need to have somebody rep us both and figure out a way where that person can work and I can work and, you can move on. Yeah. Housemarque does great work though. Dude, if they're talking about this shit, they need to make sure other companies know about it. I hope they do a GDC about it. Because other developers watch GDCs. Go to GDC and be like, listen, these are this is when we noticed.
What are the pitfalls?
What are the pitfalls, and how did we fix them so that these things? Let me give you an example. Grab ass culture. I don't know what it's called now. It's probably, I don't even know what it's called now. But grab ass culture is what I used to call it, which is where if there's no HP or HR or whatever, you might have people, sexual jokes get a little higher in a group, girls included. I'm literally being completely like unbiased here.
Sure.
Anybody can do it. And I remember at times going, ooh, this is sort of like a George Carlin skit. Like, we need to back away before somebody says something that's, ruthless. And so the idea of having like the people who sort of can set some rules down, if they're good, separate it, allow you to work, hire new people, and get everything situated so that they know what the expectations are. Because hiring new people sucks. I mean, it doesn't always suck, but it can, because that person's coming in, they're uncomfortable because they don't know what's going on. You need to have your shit.
And they don't know the culture of
They don't know the culture. They don't know what's... And you got to make sure that, because some of the best people, if you hired them in the first fucking place, your assumption would be, we got to protect that person. We thought we saw worth in them. Let's do our damnedest to make sure they understand everything, even the bad stuff, so that they can continue to do well, because we hired them for a fucking reason, Though technically my bosses would hire some shitballs. So I guess that happens. They hired me. Moving on from there.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
because I put my foot in my mouth. They weren't talking about Returnal. They did call that a AAA project already, Returnal.
Okay, so they meant
But they
prior to
started
Returnal.
Yeah, prior to that, they did some arcade games like Super Stardust. I'm
Great.
reading here.
Great.
I also saw
Go for
Dark
it.
Knighter's been doing a lot of interviews the last couple of months. He was the guy who originally made Phasmophobia single-handedly,
Oh, cool.
which turned out to be a giant hit. Where he talked about his trying to overcome that, because he had
right.
expected 200 or 300 players maybe, and then all of a sudden it's like thousands and thousands, and it's a major hit on Twitch, and all of a sudden he has to cover server expenses on Steam because Steam doesn't pay until the end of the month. So for that first month, as players are growing, he has to pay out those service costs out of his own pocket. So he has to start getting bank loans and everything.
Damn.
Wow.
To cover that. And just how much Phasmophobia has grown now to where it's a full development team now working on that game. They just put out the biggest update in their history over the summer. And where that game is now compared to where it was years ago, it's just been an amazing story. And how that's grown in how that grew out of early access really into what it's become.
And he was doing these on interviews. He was doing interviews about
he's been
troubles.
doing interviews with publications. He did one with PC Gamer or Eurogamer. He's done with a couple of others. I think he may have done a couple of podcasts as well.
Very cool. Good for him. I would say the big thing probably is if you over prepare and you don't do well, that's one thing. But if you under prepare and do insanely well, spooling up always takes longer than tearing down, right? Even if it's a phone call to get more servers, even if it's whatever, that must have been rough as shit to wake up and you see success. And then also, I would say the internet's got a couple hours. If something's great and they know you're whatever the sad story is, I'm not saying he has a sad story, but you get my drift. They know the difficulties. The internet's got I would say the internet will give you 24 hours. I feel that that's generally fair.
Goodwill
Towards success occurring, where you're like, whoa, we never anticipated this insane amount of success. We're trying to get this set up. Thank you. Please stick with us, blah, blah, blah. You got about 24 hours before some jackass is saying cooked on a YouTube video with a blowjob face, at most. And I don't even know what the stress level would be like on that. I wish companies would set forth and prepare other companies for that. Like Housemart. That would be cool if I'm glad he's doing it. It would be great if somebody was making a package almost. That was if you're new, here's your starter package for these 10 things that you may have to do if you see failure or success. Success, weirdly enough, being the one that people have rarely. So you have you guys noticed that? A lot of times if you're looking for what happens if you've had success, no one has any data on it because they most of the time report the failures. So when you're sitting there going, I've seen success on anything, I'm talking about YouTube, I'm talking about in life, whatever, you try to go and figure out how to build on this good thing you did. There are very rarely really good documentations and setups and procedures for that because they assume success takes care of itself, and especially in games, it doesn't. In a book, it may, right? You got a novel, it does well. They print more. You're not fucking writing them out on a piece of paper, So that's all taken care of itself. But on a video game, if you're in charge of servers, I didn't know they pay at the end of the month. That obviously makes sense. Steam's going to want to hold on to that 30% they're grifting from every dev anyway, while also not protecting gamers from, random companies going after them. Can you tell I don't like Steam? Hey, Gabe bought another fucking... No, he didn't buy a yacht. He bought the yacht company. So, hey, whatever. Glad he's making some cash. Yeah, that would be great. Not dissing on him. Seriously, it would be great. I'd love to see more of those coming about. There was also an interview with the director of Stranger of Paradise that came out, and I haven't seen this. Stinger Magazine did this interview. I'm gonna read it tonight because Stranger of Paradise is such a unique game to me. It had everything going for it and really did a great job not succeeding anywhere. So So if anybody gets a chance, check out Stinger magazine. It's called Interview with the Director of Stranger of Paradise, and then shows his name, which I'm not going to try whatsoever to regurgitate here, because damn, that's a name. I am going to try.
It's like a spell you're channeling.
Nobumishi Kumabi, something to that effect. And then, speaking of what was going on with Steam and Valve and Itch, I don't know if you guys saw this. The credit card companies responded with a little PR statement about the not safe for work removal and all the steps that are going on. I think Itch stated that they're looking at other processors for payments as well, which is good. I think that definitely needs to be done. OnlyFans had issues, but I think they were able to reverse it and I don't know. How do you pay for, this is going to sound bad. I'm not asking you guys to out you. I was just wondering if anybody knows how OnlyFans is paid. The reason why I'm saying is because OnlyFans.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, as you know instantly, you're like, well, Jeremy, it's blah, blah, blah a month. But I'm just saying, they're filling orifices on that. So like if they can figure out a way to get payment processing, then a video game that has characters banging should be able to figure out the same. I want that to get. I hate censorship shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know what the way out was for that. They had a really big struggle where lots of creators were leaving or being ditched, and then they somehow fixed the situation to where the platform is fine now.
So MasterCard's announcement, actually, they're right. I mean, I assumed they probably were, because I'm sure they would want the money if they could. MasterCard's not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we do require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure the MasterCard cards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. Which I think the illegal adult content is probably the same thing, because if you had somebody banging a cow on OnlyFans, they would still get kicked off OnlyFans. Bestiality being illegal. So, yeah. Steam, Itch, and whoever else sells games, Ubisoft, Microsoft, you need to get on top of shit, man. You guys are letting developers down. The good developers, not the shitholes who make those terrible games. Those guys. Blah.
Fun fact about that, actually.
About which part? Or just the entire thing?
Denmark was the first country to ever legalize pornography. But we made the mistake of complete legalization when we legalized it in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So everything became legal.
Did that undo at some point?
Yes, for quite a bit of it, like say bestiality. Some of it took longer than it should have, like for certain underage stuff that only became illegal in 1979.
Damn.
So that was legal
late in the game.
For over a decade.
Look at what Portland, Oregon did.
Yeah.
Fucking mayor came in and was like, oh man, I got a perfect idea. We're going to make it so that we're not going to arrest you if you have hardcore drugs on you. And fucking within a day, man, people were moving out. It was a disaster, like a disaster. Having people who live there, direct family who live there, it got reversed quick. And I do appreciate she came forward and was like, that was a mistake. Like that was a complete fucking disastrous mistake. It's like, yeah, sometimes a little bit of regulation is fine. Just don't get too deep into the woods on it. Speaking of woods, so saw an amazing video a couple days ago that showed how trees are made in games. Different technologies do it differently. One of the new ones Unreal is doing is they've got a really cool idea for how they're going to handle far distance LODs. They're switching away from LODs and doing trees and stuff like that. But I want to ask you guys a very odd question about this. I don't know if you guys live or have been to a forest. I know Johnny lives in London. I don't know anything about London. I don't know if they have like any forests outside of London that you can go to, true forests. But we have a problem with undergrowth here. So what you have is you have the tree, right? But it is covered in blackberries and all this kind of shit, and you can't go anywhere. And this popped up in a discussion. What kind of forest do you want in your game? Do you like the idea of trails, like almost like cultivated trails, and the world to look real, like that kind of forest? And by the way, we do know there's some forests where you do just see the trees. Redwood forests have that a lot of times where you can go anywhere. Or do you like the idea of forests that look almost like, almost at times like Witcher 3 had, where it's so dense you couldn't get through some areas? Because what I've found is whenever a game's got a super dense forest, I ignore the tech and how cool it is and get stymied by the lack of gameplay of being able to go there. Does that make sense? I find myself going, I don't care what tech made it look cool. I am now mad that I can't go because there's like this, copse of trees and there's some rocks and shit, and I can't get to the other side. Little spots of that are cool, but it made me wonder if technology is going to get to the point to where the gameplay is going to suffer. If you guys get my drift, and we've seen that in other games where gameplay suffers after a while because people can build things up. But if you guys, how about this? What's your favorite forest in a game? Oh, go ahead, Johnny. No, go for it.
Oh,
well,
I was just going to add to. Yeah, I was just going to add to that I ran into that in Assassin's Creed Shadows, because they had some really big expanses with just like thick vegetation that you couldn't walk through, and it looked beautiful, but I wish I could have traversed, because some points you really, you had to go like all the way around a big portion of, territory just because you couldn't walk into that. And just like for the future, it would be awesome to have deformation and stuff. So if you like step on a big, thick bush, now maybe that's just kind of flattened in a way. So you're actually able to like change the shape and stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What's your favorite forest in a game? Like a place where you walked into it? I would say some of the best this last couple of years to me was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. There's a couple places in that game where I was like, oh, damn, this is looking good.
Yeah.
But is there...
I would say probably Avatar.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you did. Yeah. You just be... Even though it's an alien forest, you killed it with that. Yeah. That's that for sheer just splendor, man. Avatar.
Yeah.
That fucking game's engine is on point. I forgot all about that, man. That is absolutely for sure. I did like Kingdom Come. There were some locations that just had
absolutely
really cool.
The forests in Kingdom Come are great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, I forgot about Avatar. Damn. What about you, Johnny? Any from you?
Yeah, man. Avatar is incredible. Yeah. Trying to think of another one this year. Shadows had some awesome stuff.
It did.
I was saying as well.
Yeah.
It was really cool to just explore. That's probably the peak this year from like out of every game I've played. I think Shadows.
You liked Shadows.
Would probably take that. Yeah.
I remember in the very original, the very first Hitman Codename 47, the Columbia level when you're in the jungle. It was the first game I ever played where the foliage or the leaves actually moved when you when you hit them.
I can remember that, but I can't remember what the level looks like, man. And I played the shit of that. You were talking A1 steak sauce, brand new first Hitman, right?
Yeah. Like 2000. Year 2000 Hitman.
Damn, I have no recollection of the actual mission itself. I'll have to go back and check. Damn. Yeah, that's always awesome when you see. I would say also some of the, I think was it a Ghost Recon? There was a couple games on the Sega Dreamcast that were Tom Clancy, and there was one based in like an area that looked like, I guess you'd say almost the Pacific Northwest in its tree formation. It wasn't. It was supposed to be somewhere else, but I remember being like, oh wow, that was cool. I love good trees, man. I love like when a location, just something about almost the danger of it, even if there's nothing in there, but like looking in there and going, there could be a bear. Or that could be a good place to hide. Let's see. I always liked Enslaved Odyssey.
Pretty good.
Oh, Wildlands, Tom Clancy?
Ghost Recon, yeah.
Dude, so I've actually been playing that on and off here recently. really, when it comes to that world and the way it's built, one of my favorites. Like something about the travel in that and the locations and jumping into a truck and chasing down some narcos is like, dude, this is, not everything else is great, but that.
Or just walking the Inca Trail as well in the mountains.
My favorite was Elwyn Forest in World of Warcraft. That's what India says. I don't remember that one. Avoid says Outcast 2 forests, even low poly. I loved them. Forest in KCD 2 felt so real. It was nuts. Enshrouded has great forests, some with verticality. That's a second Enshrouded. Crisis has some pretty thick forests. Yeah, Crisis was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
only in the last 5 years can our cards catch up to Crisis. Actually, it's caught up, since then. But Lombardo says I've been jamming through Breakpoint. I don't remember if Breakpoint's forests intrigued me as much, but that just could have been the location. Could have just been where it was based and the overall.
I found them to be fine, but not particularly memorable.
Yeah, it wasn't as
memorable. Not that
engaging.
Ooh, somebody said Oblivion. I'm assuming they mean Oblivion. Oblivion, like Oblivion Force.
The remake.
But again, for me, I think
the remake
with Breakpoint, a lot of that sort of environment was undercut by the constant patrols, the constant like you've mentioned the breakdown of the scooters or the motorbikes, the constant overhead patrols and whatnot, where you never really had time to actually engage
in that forest and
with the environment. Yeah,
it was a weird one. Far Cry the original. Okay, that's a really good answer. Far Cry the original is one of the better memories I've ever had with friends. We found that game at like 8 a.m. on a Sunday when everybody was getting ready to go home after staying for 2 days to do D&D. And I was like, I'm going to check out this Far Cry game. And the forest and the grass and just being like, holy shit, what is this game? It's crazy how Far Cry 1 is so different.
I mostly remember the beaches from that game more than the forest.
Yeah, and the sharks. Everything about that game was, to me, like such a surprise. It didn't feel like anything else. Now, of course, everything feels like everything. OG Oblivion Ruined was my gold standard. OG Oblivion Ruined was my gold standard. I don't know what that means. OG Oblivion Ruined was my gold standard for years until KCD2. The Void says Horizon. I'm assuming he means Horizon Zero Dawn. Did Horizon Zero Dawn have forests? Horizon Zero Dawn had some of the best looking locations of all time.
Especially, and New Horizons especially had even more.
I think Frozen, the DLC for one, also had a couple areas with cool forest. But I don't remember the forest being particularly available. It feels like that game, well, yeah, maybe not a forest, but it definitely had tree, obviously groups of trees. Yeah, okay. Far Cry 5 forest. Yeah, Far Cry 5 had some good ones. Forest in games, man, if they're done right, probably my favorite location, maybe even more so than snow. I mean, I know snow isn't a location in the same way, but I mean, if I see a cool forest, I'm more excited about that than snow. Yeah. Even though snow's pretty fucking high on my list.
Yeah, snow's great.
Dude, snow, the starting of Red Dead 2, as much shit as I give it for being glacial, no pun intended. When you're riding and Dutch is yelling at you through the wind and you're just, man, that game is so old and it still is better looking than 99.9%.
You could see the snow moving in the air.
It's nearly 7 years old now.
It's nearly 7, right? Yeah. And if you
Crazy.
Consider development time started 10 years, so at least 10 years old when it comes to it's nuts, man. It's nuts when you look at it. You're like, holy Christ, that game still looks impressive. Well, number 1 looks impressive. I mean, I played number 1 recently. Didn't look bad at all. Great game. What else do we got for news? Microsoft added age verification for UK users. For what? Game Pass?
So there's a big hubbub in the UK where they passed some law where you need to do age verification for anything that's adult content. So this could be, yes, it could be porn sites, but it could be anything that has adult content. It could be like a site where you have shows that are for adult, like for like mature rating. Discord was asking you as well for, if a channel is tagged as for mature publics, then in order to view those, you also needed to do verification. And now Microsoft also added it to Xbox. So you need to go through this process of like either taking a picture of yourself and having that validated, or take a picture of your passport and stuff like that.
Or the guy from Death Stranding, right? Things. Didn't people use Death Stranding's photo mode to get by some adult verification?
And they used that. They used the Unreal 5.
But I'm a little confused on the Death Stranding one, because wouldn't they just say you're dead if they saw Norman Reedus, because he looks like he's 600 years old?
He does.
Is it going by the look of your face? Because that doesn't make a lot of sense. You could have a very young-looking older person. Look at Anna de Armas.
I don't know how it works.
She's 38.
Yeah.
You look at her and you're like, dude, I'm sorry. That doesn't look like what 38 used to look like, I guess. I don't know.
No. Yeah. And even after showering, by the way, Norman Reedus, I would shower twice to see if like he could clean up a bit more. But no, that's his clean is already, nasty.
I mean, he looked like that in Blade 2. So, but anyway, long story short, I don't know how they're getting by, but yeah, I did see some people, I think it was even my Discord maybe, where somebody was saying that like they had to take a picture of themselves or whatever. I didn't really track it, but to get in, I don't understand why the picture is proving anything more or less if you can get away with taking anybody's picture. That doesn't make any sense. So I would have to say, do you see what I'm saying?
I have no idea. It could like, hey dad, just come here.
Yeah. It doesn't make, hey dad, man, I want to get a selfie, hug mom, and then use AI to remove her face. And now you've got you.
Well, it has to be real time. So you're in an application, like an official application, and it's looking at your face in real time. And like,
dude, I don't want AI deciding how old or young somebody is. That is or maybe it's a person, but that seems really weird, because if it was a person, at some point they got to be like, why is Norman Reedus trying to get into every Discord? And if it's AI, that's not something you want.
It's like,
you want
really,
a human
Norman
in charge
Reedus
of that
again.
Yeah. Or let alone don't want it to be a thing. There's other ways to do it. Titan Quest 2, the search for Titanfall. Titan Quest 2, the search for Titanfall 3. Gonna be honest, that went way over my head. I don't know what that means, but it meant something to them. Do you understand that joke? Titan Quest 2, the search for Titanfall 3. Is that joke? You understand that joke? I'm not getting it.
No.
My brain's not on enough today. Yeah.
Can't compute.
Gothic 1 remake had a trailer.
The only thing I'm picking up is mixing Titan Quest and Titanfall.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was. But I was like,
yeah.
What does that mean? Darksiders 4 got an announcement trailer, so there'll be a Darksiders 4 coming. Next Bioshock game leaders change. So listen to this. This just popped. This is from Bloomberg. It says the next Bioshock game changes leaders after development turmoil. Take-Two Interactive is overhauling parts of the next Bioshock game and shaking up management after senior executives expressed they were unhappy with its development. The new Bioshock, which is produced by Cloud Chamber, recently failed a review. Damn. By executives at 2K Games, the publishing subsidiary of Take-Two, who weren't they were not authorized to discuss private information and asked not to be identified. The game's narrative was identified as an area that was particularly in need of improvement. Dude, you know how difficult it'd be to be the person handling the narrative of a Bioshock game without Ken Levine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what happened with Bioshock 2, right?
2, right. Yeah, there were some issues there.
Levine wasn't involved with that one, was he?
I think he did produce it or something. I think he talked about this. There was some over. I don't remember all that. I think I know it was like different, but I just was never a huge fan of that game anyway. SBZ $5 super chat. Sorry, can't chat much. I'm at Evo. The line for Marvel Token is very long. So excited for that game and Invincible Versus 2. I'm excited for Virtua Fighter TBA 77 or whatever the fuck they call it. I mean, I'm a Virtual Fighter fan. Can't wait to see some of these new fighting games.
Yeah, that Talcon thing looked actually pretty good.
Haven't seen a thing about it. I don't even know what it is. So what is it?
So it's a Marvel fighter akin to like Marvel versus Capcom. That type of
Is this
stuff.
the one we saw at the event?
With
Okay, I do know.
with
Okay.
kind of like a comic style,
Yeah.
comic book style.
Speaking of Bioshock, what happened to Judas? Nothing as far as I know. Still on track.
Yeah, we just
It's
don't
nice
know
thing
much.
about Ken Levine, man. He was good enough that they're just like, get it to us when you're done.
Yeah, true. You get to that point in your career where people just stop asking for shit and for proof. They're just like, dude, here's your space. Whatever you need, just do your thing.
Yeah.
And let us know when it's
place
ready.
to be as long as you have control.
Good place.
Right? As long as you don't let it
Yeah.
go to your head. As long as suddenly the hookers and the blows.
You know, it's
are
interesting you
showing up.
mentioned that.
Oh,
Because
shit.
I
Hookers
always
and blow
try to
story. Let's
picture.
go. Oh.
Well,
I
it was
gotta
more
start.
linked to to the other part.
Yeah.
Like for these games with a big ambitious story, whether it's a Bioshock, could be something like a Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
Is it like one person having the blueprint for the whole thing? Do you think like they have a room in their house where the wall is full of papers with, like in the movies with the linking things, and they're just like,
For Ken Levine's,
their whole lives
for Ken's games,
is that.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Lake talks about like they work on Alan Wake and they take more overall decisions, but they're technically a bigger team. Ken Levine's always been about he controls it. He's like Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi doesn't let anybody write any music ever.
Oh, true. They had beef with
Dude, they had to go to a fucking
John,
they had to
the
go to
guitarist.
psychologists, because they were like, as artists, all we're doing is imagine as an artist, every day you wake up, you just grabbed a manuscript that had been written already and you rewrite it again. That's what they had to do for like 40 years, but successful, so they stuck around. But with Ken, he tore up Bioshock Infinite without anybody, there was nobody who controlled it. He was like, man, well, I don't like what we're doing, so we're going to tear it back up. Yeah, it just all depends. The writers in a lot of games still answer to producers. Then you have what's his name? Neil, for The Last of Us.
Drucker?
Druckmann. He said the Druckmann. He said he was going back to start writing up and getting the Prophet game. I mean, I'm assuming he's writing 80% of it because if I remember right, and I could be speaking out of turn, but I do not think I am. I'm almost 100% sure this is a true thing that was said, but it is possible I lived in a shard universe at the time. I'm pretty sure there were rumors that that's why Amy left, was because she's really headstrong and they didn't agree on some story plans. And she's the one who left, not him, because he's the main writer and what he says goes. So, what's a game you guys, okay, this is from Telegram. What's a game you swear is a hidden masterpiece, but nobody believes you? Oh, what's a game you swear is a hidden masterpiece, but nobody believes you? Damn, that's actually a good question. So masterpiece. So like you played it and you're like, holy shit.
Kerbal Space Program.
Oh, it's a good answer.
It's a hard sell.
It is a hard
Yeah,
sell,
a hard
but
sell.
you definitely believe that one was a masterpiece too.
I believe it's just a beautiful game if people can get into it.
That's a really good example, man. I hadn't even thought about that game, and two, I know is having its issues, but that definitely is high up there. Do you have any silver that like you think is like a masterpiece, but you feel like it just hasn't got the love, or just nobody believes you ultimately?
I mean, I think I certainly have there's certainly a lot of masterpieces I feel are underrated, but I don't feel like there's one where nobody will believe me.
Well, don't take it so literally. Take it as like generally it's not believed. Like in general. Not that like no one would believe you. Because, Johnny and I'd probably believe you. Probably. I mean, maybe not. I'm just joking.
But maybe
Yeah.
maybe some of the older Hitman games that aren't as well liked.
as well loved.
No, I wouldn't call them masterpieces, to be honest.
Would you
Mhm.
call, seriously, would you call Tetris Effect a masterpiece? Because I feel like you talked about Tetris Effect a ton, and I didn't see it.
Yeah, but that's not so much because of Tetris Effect as it is simply Tetris.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, I get that. Trying to think of what mine would be, like a masterpiece where I was like, dude, I love this game. I can't believe.
It's like, trust me, bro. Doesn't look like it, but
Trust me, bro. I'm trying to think of like a game. God, we're gonna have to go back to like 360 or X. Space Harrier. I think Space Harrier is considered a classic in the fact that it's old. But I think when it comes to difficulty and simplicity of gameplay and the time in which it was delivered, I would say Space Harrier is definitely mine. That was a hard-ass game, too. Yeah, Space Harrier is mine.
What about Crusader King 3? That's a game you reviewed, and I remember you mentioned it's so difficult to get into.
I don't think it's a classic. I
once you
think
did-
it is a fantastically weird, odd game, but I wouldn't consider it a classic because I even had problems and had to almost get assistance, like mental assistance from somebody else to actually figure out how to come at it in a different way. And would it have been a masterpiece if they had stated that in a tutorial? Just a tutorial? Maybe so. Maybe that's all it would have needed, because I bounced off of it so many times. I was like, I fucking hate this thing. Like, I hate it. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is one of the greatest games of all time. But yeah, I wouldn't put it up there. I gotta find a better answer than what I mean. Yeah, Space Harrier is probably mine. Any from you? None. Oh, Siberia, Alien Isolation. I think everybody. I personally feel like a ton of people think that game is Alien Isolation is well loved, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hot take though. I just scrolled down. Days Gone. Damn.
I don't think most people would say it's a masterpiece.
I do not either. That is a hot take, and I appreciate your bravery. You're brave. You're a courageous human. Wow. Hey, man, I got you. Near Automata. Near Automata was, I feel like that one was definitely loved.
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't call
pretty
it hidden. Yeah.
Widespread.
Dante's Inferno is a good answer. It's a ballsy game to think about nowadays in terms of monster design.
Yeah, I'm mostly forgotten, honestly. Most people, I don't think, remember Dante's Inferno.
I don't think so either, yeah. Somebody just said Fahrenheit. I know what game they're talking about.
Oh, dude.
I like that game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a masterpiece. I really enjoyed the craziness and just it's clumsy, it's crazy. I loved it, but absolutely hate. That had two names, right? It was Fahrenheit, and it was, what was the other game it had two names for that game. It was Fahrenheit, and it was
Indigo Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy.
But very much not a masterpiece.
Okay, no, I will say this. Omicron's one of my favorite games of all time. I don't know if I consider
that game alone.
What'd you say?
The stealth sections of that game, Indigo
Prophecy. Yeah,
Fahrenheit,
it was rough.
Alone.
It was rough. But Omicron would be up there for sure for me. Good question though. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Next up, if you could permanently remove one gaming mechanic from existence, what would it be? None, man. That's pretty. Come on. That's 2-1 and 0. What about an overused gaming mechanic?
I mean, always going to be the minimap for me.
Okay. Okay. All right. I get that.
I think the respawning enemies, man.
Oh my God. That's what I was going to answer,
done.
you bastard.
I'm kind of done with the respawning, man.
I was doing Wu Chang, man, and I was like,
yeah.
And it's not even a hard game. I know some people had some difficulty bumps. I did have a couple difficulty bumps, but nowhere near the heightened and difficulty bumps of a lot of other Dark Souls games.
Okay.
So therefore, those bumps weren't as bumpy. It's hard to describe it that way, but that's what I mean. Dude, you go in there and you almost hope that somebody had the bravery, the human tenacity to go
maybe
in.
this time
Maybe
they
this
won't
time
respond.
I'll face the guns that are shooting down the beach where everybody wants you to respawn the enemies, and I'm not going to do it. And you load it up and you get ready and you go over to that option, and it's like, you're going to get all your health back and we're going to respawn all the enemies. And you're like, fuck. God, I hate that shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree.
especially
Dude.
when you have to do these runs back to the boss, man. Like Wu-Chang, you got to do this, right? I've seen some people play where, you know, you die, you got to run back a pretty huge
There were a couple times.
track. Yeah.
Be honest, guys. What game do you love, but also kind of hate yourself for loving? Okay, dude, that's a really good question, because I actually have a lot of I'm not like, have you ever heard somebody talk about Rocket League? It's the worst abusive relation. I mean, I don't even understand what's going on with Rocket League, because I see it. It's in cars hitting stuff. But for whatever reason, I'll get a lot of people who play it who are like, there's something that goes on there that I guess I'm just not privy to, where a lot of people, I could tell they would be like, I hate myself for liking this game, which, by the way, that's way too serious for a Friday, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
And so we won't say like League of Legends for you, because if it was, that would be crazy, right? Or maybe slightly hate yourself. Do you slightly hate yourself? Do you, I don't feel like that's I don't feel like that's fair.
So I can see some people feeling that way because they have like a toxic relationship with the game.
Right.
I have I think a really good relationship with the game.
Very, very positive.
Yeah, like a self-improvement type of thing that for me really works. But I will say, I do think about the cost of opportunity, that, you know, yes, I am putting hours into this game.
Okay.
And technically I could play much more. Just like a bigger variety of games, right? If I weren't committing time to this. But it's also giving me satisfaction, and it's a competitive outlet that I don't have elsewhere.
Absolutely.
So it does, you know, it is a value add. So I wouldn't say I hate it. I would say sometimes I do think like, you know, is it a good investment of time? And so far I'm erring on the side of yes, it's solid.
That's fair. I think you do have a positive relationship also, because I mean, you're making videos out of it when you want to, like, it's not, you just sort of understand the negatives of the game. That's not the same thing as I take this as a little bit more like where maybe late at night when you almost get to sleep and your foot jerks and you wake up and then you go, why did I fucking play 8 hours of this game? What the fuck? You know, like, and I've been in chats before where I've heard somebody be like, what the fuck? And I want to say I don't do this very often because I don't know how people parse their shit. But if I got even a tenth as mad, or as I talk with you guys a ton, but in an online game, I'm just like, I don't talk that much other than communication with everybody. It's like if I die, I'd be like, oh, dude, I died. That's rare. It would take a lot. But I'll see somebody jump in a game and within 7 seconds, man. Like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you going over there? What are you guys fucking doing? I'll be like, oh, are you talking to him? Oh, no. I have voice chat off. And I'll be like, then fucking who are you talking to? Like, what? Like, why are you wasting? It's not only that it doesn't sound fun, and you'll hear somebody say, oh, no, that's fun for me. And I'm like, then technically you're wired pretty different than normal humans are, because normal humans can frown on purpose and cause themselves to actually feel depressed. They're pretty easily swayed. So it's like, I think you're sort of lying to yourself.
Yeah, I don't buy it either.
You don't do that. You don't. I've never seen you do that with League of Legends. You're usually pretty interested, in fact, in what goes on.
I might get frustrated because I made a mistake, but you know, you move on. I'm not like screaming at
oh my people. God, I made a mistake and I didn't take Shushu-Wan and, you know, cast a spell and create a fucking dragon that then dropped chipmunks that's balls hit the enemy's faces.
I wish that was a mechanic. Yeah,
that's not, that's okay to say. But if you're like, if it goes towards you, it's a hobby, man. If it's going towards yourself for spending time on that, man, maybe. Yeah,
or like your self-worth or something. Yeah,
maybe step back from that shit. What about you, Silver? Is there any game that you truly like, even if it was once in your life where you were all, fuck, man, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I playing this? Was
There
it
have been
Arma
tons.
when we did multiplayer? And I shot you in the anus?
No, that was still good fun.
It was good fun.
I mean, there have been tons. I mean, the amount of hours I put into Marvel Avengers, I definitely questioned.
Oh my
At times.
god! Oh, dude! Holy shit!
That's a good
Holy
one.
shit! We questioned it. I forgot.
Yeah, true.
I forgot all
we
about
did for
Marvel
months,
Avengers.
by the
we
way.
did for months.
We questioned it.
For
Yeah.
months. Oh
Yeah.
man, dude, that's such a good answer. Not
Yeah.
dissing on you. I'm just saying you're the one who brought it up. So like, you
Yeah.
opened that can of worms. You
Yeah.
are right though. That one was confusing to many of us who were trying to.
Because it had those moments of greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I
interspersed
kept
with.
chasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude, what a what a blast from the past. I remember being in one of the chats and you were, this is years ago, man, I don't even, and I think you were streaming it, and I remember
No, I was never
just,
streaming it.
you remember streaming it. Okay. That's why I said I think, but so it's probably just you coming into a conversation. But we started talking about it, and I was so stunned you were still playing it that I continually thought it was the other Ultimate Alliance Avengers in my brain. I couldn't figure out why any human would still be. By the way, that's too rude to that game. There's way worse games. There's Drake and the 99 Dragons. There's fucking, a ton of games that are worse. Gollum. But I do remember sitting in there and being like, dude, what are you doing? And you just kept talking about it. But you were I remember even back then, you were like, listen, man, I don't like this. I don't like this. But you might have been playing Thor, because I feel like I remember a discussion about a special move or something that you really liked somebody doing. And I remember you were describing it as like it felt good to pull off. There was something that you really enjoyed.
I liked playing all the characters,
Yeah.
frankly, which was
Yeah.
one of the things I enjoyed about that game.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's
just
fair.
Just like the flow of the cooperative element and the synergy between ground and air really clicked at times in that game in a way it never has for any other game.
Yeah, man, those were good times. And then also, what gaming moment of yours would instantly become a viral fail if someone recorded you doing it? For example, missing a ladder for 12 minutes trying to get on top of it while an enemy hits you. Jesus Christ, that's given me fucking palpitations.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times there's a game where you have to hit A to get up a ladder, but the A has to be hit right in the center of the ladder, and not in the center. You also have to be looking at the ladder, but you're also getting hit by an enemy, and you don't have whatever you need to have, and you're trying. All you want is to get up that. You just want to get up that ladder, and you rub up against it, you finger it, you fondle it, you bang it, you fucking pink and stink it, and you die, and you're so frustrated by it. And then you go back, it happens again and again. There's certain games where I swear to God, the ladders are just greasy. There's like slick, and you can't get up them at any one point. So good example for that one. Is there any failures you guys have had in a game where you didn't grab the mechanic, like this, or where you remember just for whatever reason, it was a specific thing like this where you couldn't get up it?
Dude, some of the most embarrassing ones for me are not seeing an obvious ladder that's there. So I'm looking around the room and I'm like, dude, how can I progress? And I'm literally stuck for like 15 minutes. And then I'll see this very obvious ladder that's there. And a lot of this is like on stream too. So it's very public. It's very embarrassing.
Dude, do you know what's even worse? Johnny, I can't tell you how mad I get when I go up to a group of 3 people and I hit a button and I talk to the wrong one. I've never been more frustrated. If there's 3 characters and you go up and you're in a hurry and you hit A and you're like, so anyway, and you're like, motherfucker, that's not who I wanted to talk to, and you goddamn know it. And that kind of stuff, I would probably make it viral by my freak out.
Context sensitive.
Oh, dude, yeah, context sensitive. Button, talk
or
to people.
You walk up to an NPC and you jump instead of talking, like wrong button.
Yeah, and you're just like in front of them because you're used to some other game or whatever. Yeah, I can't tell you too how many times I've gone into a game and I swear to you, it wasn't there. I would almost bet $1 million that like the ladder, like Johnny said, was not in the room. You run in,
Yeah.
you do that 360, you see nothing, you run out,
Nope.
you
nothing.
die 3
Yeah.
times, nothing's in there, and then you go back in because your brain is like, I have circumnavigated this one spot to the point to where I could geologically find the smallest deposit of oil. And I still can't get out of here. So something's going on. So then you do the thing where you're like, I'm going to go anyway. You throw the
You're
ego.
scanning every, you know.
And you go in and there's a ladder and you're like, motherfucker, that ladder was not there no matter
was
what.
not rendered
Yeah,
there.
it was
Was
not
not rendered.
Yeah.
I have a different one.
What's yours?
Setting up the perfect Tetris and then missing when the
Ooh.
elongated 4.
Oh,
You mean like
Oh.
hitting to the
One-
right, hitting like the wrong button right when it landed or something? Is that
No,
how you missed
like
it?
literally like missing the slot.
Oh,
hole.
okay. Oh,
like,
gotcha.
like the cap. I've
oh,
left
so you have one big
to
slot
hit all
prepared?
4 lines for a Tetris, so that I don't actually slot it in, and I
Oh,
missed.
disaster, dude.
And then I just switch it off and go fuck it.
Vapor for Blood says
All right.
throwing an axe into the abyss and Silent Hill downpour. Oh, dude, that's the other one. Throwing weapons that are not your primary weapon at enemies in games stymies me. I'm going to straight up be honest. I always have to practice it or really make sure I'm not going to use it. But if there's a game where you don't have a lock on, but you have like a dagger or an axe or whatever that you can throw and hit enemies with, I will notoriously throw that to the right or left all the time. And it's probably has to do with where the character is in the screen. You know how some characters, they're slightly adjusted to the right or the left or right in the center. I definitely have looked.
That
the
axe is
fool.
going to Narnia.
Dude, right over. And it feels like a movie where if it was a movie, the character would be like, what the fuck are you doing? And you're a badass. Or the worst, guys, the best combo in a game and you miss the last hit. Or you miss and they kick you. The worst basic enemy attack. So you'll be like in Batman or an Assassin's Creed and you're flowing, man. You're zenning. You're flipping people up in the air. You're slapping them. Entire family lines are dying. Their babies won't be born. You're just like, this is the greatest. I'm destroying trees of DNA right now. And then some fucking piece of shit kicks you in the back with the most basic attack. And
Some basic dude, yeah. Or dude like Monster Hunter, when you're doing this full combo, it's your final hit in the combo, it's charged, it's gonna do a massive amount of damage, and like the boss like taps you
Yep.
with like a little shove,
Yep.
and it's suddenly you're knocked down.
Good times, man.
Oh,
Good times. Great question.
good times.
That was a really good question. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate questions like that because it makes me think outside the box of like some of the stupid shit that's popped up in my life that I think I forget about. And then once somebody is like, hey, dude, what about this? I'll be like, oh, yeah. Which video game villain do you secretly agree with? Oh, okay. That's all. So which video game villain do you secretly agree with? Okay. I agree with Malik in KOTOR 1. Yeah, I do. And I think that the whole Revan thing was great, but I actually think it was Malik, right? It was Malik and Revan, and then the second one was Bane,
Yes.
right? Darth Bane or something. What a POS.
No, that was Kreia. That's the ultimate villain in that one.
Well, Kreia was the gray, yeah. Oh, yes. Ooh, Kreia. Maybe I agreed with her. But
And
I
then
was,
Darth Sion was the one with the pain, the crushed body, and
That's
Darth
who I was thinking about.
Nihilus.
yeah,
was the
Nihilus
Planet
is
Eater.
fine. I hate the crushed nuts guy. He just bothers me. He's like so edgy, so Avenged Sevenfold up late at night, drawing on his fucking album art, how cool he is, little devil horns on everything. Fucking that guy's like a 14-year-old emo kid. I hated that guy. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I really did not like that guy. That was the shittiest writing. Anyway, moving on. What about you guys? Is there an enemy in a game where you ultimately got done and were like, you know what, dude, that guy had a fucking point, man. Like, I sort of agree with him, even though you were the good guy. Anything you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple, but not one that immediately pops into my head. I mean, I remember. I mean, in Chrono Trigger, there's an initial villain who kind of becomes potentially recruitable, where you find out that he's actually secretly trying to fight the main bad guy. Magus is trying to fight Lavos, and has a somewhat sympathetic story, but also there's a limit to how much I agree with him because he uses not very sympathetic methods to do it. That I don't necessarily agree with.
You know, I always thought the elusive man had a point.
Absolutely.
Which is that, like, you know, biotic children should be a thing, and like, you know, just that whole exploring that whole thing made a lot of sense. Did he go a bit too far? Yes, and like some of his methods were, you could say, unsavory. But I would say that secretly, I thought like some of what he thought was based.
So funny you mentioned that, because another game by BioWare who I think probably nailed this in a couple places is the your sensei, your master in Jade Empire.
Right, the Lotus, whatever he was Lotus something or other, right?
In Jade Empire?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, weirdly enough. And it's funny because I play that game all the time. I still can't remember it off the top of my head, but I didn't want to look it up. But that guy, when you get done, I got to admit, man, I honestly was like, man, my character's sort of a pussy. And I sort of agree with this guy. Like, it's one of those, and that's not the point. You're not supposed to not agree with him. So it works in that game. But I remember being like, huh. But he did exactly what Johnny pointed out. He did some terrible shit so that you can't agree with him, which could be a cop-out. I don't think it is. I think it works well with that. But I would say by the end, I was like, maybe I sort of agree with whatever happened.
You know, actually, I'll change my answer. I'll give
Continue,
you the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3, who ends up being the final boss of that game.
Yeah.
Because she basically does it all for the country that you are also serving,
yeah,
the snake, and you're only really killing her.
Good point.
In order to sell a lie, in order to produce and sell a lie that can work politically, and she's doing it basically as a sacrifice. In a scene that's quite resonant and powerful, especially with how it ties into the game's ending.
So real quick, I asked the other question about shit you messed up on, and here's ones we have. Vapor Blood says, Witcher 3, snuffing out candles while trying to talk to an NPC. My God, man. The first 3 weeks of that game, all day long, so many candles snuffed out. Ref says, I can't count the amount of times I played RDR2 and punched my horse instead of mounting it. Me too.
Okay, I did that too. Yeah.
Let's see. Wild One says, I had a bad habit of hitting the grenade button in all games trying to do other things. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, God.
For sure. Yeah. And bouncing off people's heads, you know, bouncing off the wall in front of me and just being like, and I don't know, you know, it's sort of like, I guess I would just call it, there's like a save state zen that I get when something I know is going to go bad and I might be able to live through it, but I say, fuck it anyway. So like if I throw a grenade and it bounces off the wall and lands at my feet, you will see me just go, yeah. And I'll just let it blow me up. I'll be like, it's almost like I have to be like, dude, I have to pay a penalty for that. That was the dumbest goddamn thing I've ever done. So a lot of times in games, if I do that mess up and it bounce, like a grenade in particular or something like that, I'll just be like, all right, I'm going to let that thing kill me. I'm going to restart. I could probably run away and get half damage, but whatever. Magus, Bad People in The Wolf Among Us have good points. Man, I can't remember Wolf Among Us story, unfortunately. Robert says the suitcase guy from Half-Life.
Yeah.
And then Vapor says Solus was a good villain in Dragon Age Inquisition DLC Trespasser, but then they made the sequel. ...
Yeah.
I don't think I did the DLC. I don't think I did. Did I do Trespasser? I feel like I didn't. I feel like I would have remembered that. I was not a Solus fan. So I wasn't a fan in the original game, wasn't a fan in the new one for some reason. He didn't really grab me. So I guess I didn't do Trespasser. Is Trespasser the one where you become king? Or like you do something in your base
No,
up a
it's
base? No?
you basically
one?
go through the mirrors chasing after Morrigan.
Okay. I guess I didn't for sure. All right.
As she
Good to know.
searches for her archdemon child.
Next up. Oh. I don't really understand this question, but I sort of like that I don't, because what I read is interesting. Sort of. What's your personal video game jump scare moment that isn't supposed to be scary? We'll stick with that because the answer, I don't understand those examples. What's your personal video game jump scare that isn't? Was there a scary part in a game, or maybe a game that gave you even like monstrous feeling? I think Johnny and I have talked about, like, in some space games, you look into space and you're like, oh, that goes forever. Or you're in the water in Subnautica and you look into deep water and you're like, you got a little sphincter puckerage. Is there anything
definitely.
in a game that's come up and been creepy and you feel that at the very least it probably wasn't meant to be that way, even if it was just a display of something? Personally, for me, I actually think the movies in Mass Effect that showed humans and robots joining together and showed like flesh tearing, I'm not a big body horror guy. I've never been a big, I think I have a pretty, what's the term? Like almost a sacred feeling towards your body, towards each person's body, like not damaging it on purpose. But something about those gave me that creep edge where I don't think they were meant to, at least not as much as I was getting it. But whenever he would talk to one of the, what are they called? Fucking, I don't know, ESP space pylons, whatever the fuck those things were called. And you AT&T'd back to the, back to the past, and you got your little video shitty ass MPEG. They showed like flesh tearing in humans and biochips going into skin. And I was like, oh, so that would be mine. That definitely set me aside. What do you have, Johnny?
That stuff gets me too, man. I was thinking about Space Marine 2 with some of the Warhammer fiction.
Oh, yeah.
Where like people have their faces blended in with like metals and stuff like that. Cyberpunk also kind of did it.
Yeah.
Where, just like the mixing where like your skin stops and like goes into this metallic thing and it's all like shoved in there.
Yeah, like when you see in Warhammer 40K literature more than anything, though you see it in some of the games, obviously, but like a piston in your neck, or whatever. Yeah, I'm
like
just like, dude,
stuff,
that's supposed to be on a Dodge Dart.
Into your body.
That's not supposed to be in your neck. Yeah, definitely. Is there any for you, Silver, that have popped up? Like that were, even if there was just a sense of unease?
Not really a jump scare, but unease for sure with Grand Theft Auto 4, with the physics and like the first time I think I shot someone in that game and they collapsed and their blood like seeped out onto the street.
Good answer.
I really went. I did go like, well, this is unsettling.
So Silver, I had the same thing. Weirdly enough, in 5 when first person mode was activated. And I had been beating the shit out of everybody without any hesitation. And then I jumped into the first person and hit a bystander. And as somebody who has hit people and watched them fall, there is a thought process, unless you're a homicidal maniac. Most of the time you have a thought process of being like, okay, anger's past. I hope they didn't hit their head, whatever. And that person hit the ground and then slid down like 2 flights of steps because of the havocs, whatever physics engine at the time. And I remember going like, damn, I wish he'd stop sliding. Like,
Euphoria,
could he just stop? Yeah, Euphoria. Yeah. That's a good one. And also the torture scene, GTA, that got me. There's a couple things in GTA that have actually made me like,
uneasy.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, torture scene's pretty opaque, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to say. I
think it's also somewhat meant to disturb you.
It is. There's the starting of the game though does have that one thing, and I mean, obviously this game is ancient, but I still feel that there could be a chance somebody hasn't played it. But there's a part right at the starting when you meet Trevor and the shit he does, and there's a certain part where he talks about his boot, and I was like,
"Yeah, dude, damn,
what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah.
My brain, I think, for the first 20 seconds was like, that can't be what I think it is. Like, it's got to be something else, and he's just like pretending it is, or so. That was, it was not upsetting. I don't know what the term is. And it wasn't even, I don't even know if it's just, it was probably disturbing, I guess. It's been long enough, but yeah, those were good
Yeah,
times.
because you also know you're going to play as him. So you're thinking, dude.
Oh, true. Yeah, true. And you got to carry the weight of a character's past on your back in every decision. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that at all. Damn. And then let's see. Wild One said, disturbing to me sometimes is a glitch where characters just stretch to hell. Yes. So whenever the math gets messed up on a burning up video card, so if your video card gets hot, it'll usually fuck up the math on a character's point on their so their face will be normal, but you have a pixel that goes to infinity. Holy shit, man! I'm like, I'm out.
Nope.
Fans getting turned on, game getting reset. Can't deal with that shit. What is that? Unity?
Or like when you
Unity
fall past the floor in a game.
Oh yeah.
It just kind of bugs out and you start falling infinitely.
I get the stomach like a roller coaster
absolutely.
if I fall through the floor. I'll be like, what the fuck? Yeah, those are awesome. Let's see.
I also had the video game The Suicide of Rachel Foster, where I really had to like take a shower after playing that game.
Was it about that? I mean, I'm assuming it was. Oh, it wasn't? Because you've talked about this game before, but I don't remember what would have made you don't have to talk about it, but why did it make you take a shower? I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, were everybody doing stuff, or was it something that had occurred?
It's something that occurs in the game where it basically, the way the game addresses like grooming in particular really comes across as like a defense of grooming. And no, you don't understand this relationship between this like 14-year-old girl and her much older mentor was actually a beautiful love story that was just misunderstood because society wasn't ready for it.
And you're like, no, that's definitely bad and grooming.
Yeah.
So,
and the game never really makes clear whether there's supposed to be pushback on that or whether it's actually genuine in how it tries to defend the
interesting
that relationship. Yeah.
It always makes you wonder what exactly that means. Like why there wasn't any. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? That's it for that question. What other news do we got? Anything, Johnny, that I've missed in your list?
Just quickly mentioning Horizon hit 38 million sales. The Horizon franchise from Horizon Zero Dawn. 38 million worldwide. That's an awesome number for them.
Yeah, one DLC, one remake, right? Just the one remake
two
on
DLCs.
PC? Two DLCs.
So each of them, the first one had one with the snowy peaks, and then the second one had the one with the island, the like the Hollywood sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're counting especially Frozen Wilds or whatever, the first one. I wonder if they're counting that as a sale in the same. I wonder if they're counting the DLCs. I guess is what was popping into my mind. So
yeah, that's a good point.
You've got those, and then you've got one remake.
They would count it,
and then the ports,
because the way they said it was they just said franchise, so it would be anything. Maybe even the Lego game. It's under there.
Oh no, the Lego game would for sure be under there if they said franchise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn good. Hey, I like them. I wasn't a big fan of the Lego one, but I think that, I genuinely enjoy those games, and some of the most beautiful, insanely good-looking games ever. The only one that I was really unbelievably disappointed in was that fucking VR game, which was tremendously almost... It wasn't just antiquated. It was antiquated even in VR terms, and it was such a step down from what I expected. And it was another reminder that AAA franchises or whatever, we've got a couple that have been thrown to the wind, and you're always assuming that won't happen. You get your Unity, Master Chief Collection, whatever. They've all done it. And that one I remember just being like, damn, son, that was not good. But 38 million is not bad, man. 38 million for, wonder when the first one came out, 2014? No. The first one came out before Red Dead 2, right? Yeah.
Huh. That's a good
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So you're talking almost
That was 26.
2016.
I think that was actually 2016.
Okay,
2017.
2017. Okay, so a year later. Okay, so actually later than I thought, but 8 years, 38 million. Imagine that being doubled because they would release those games not in the same month as two of the biggest blockbusters of all time releasing at the same time. And I truly do believe that they would have seen a bump. I'm not saying it would have doubled, but I do believe that their release schedule might be the best hazard roadmap for any developer moving forward that I've ever seen, because they show that it doesn't matter how much money you have or whatever, you can still mistake your release time, and you have to be on top and you have to be flexible with moving, which I think companies are now. Dying Light. See, this is the thing, guys. I'm excited about Dying Light delaying for a month, not because they delayed and it even gives me more time. It's because I think that the more adjustment these companies, small companies, big companies, medium-sized companies, have for delaying and moving around releases, the better, because it also means that sometimes you'll get ones that come early. Borderlands 4, I believe, they stated was coming earlier than their initial plans. I love that idea. I like to see adjustment and go, you know what? This is not a good time for us, man. You know when is not a good time? Elden Ring.
Yeah. So
sorry. Fuck, I don't care if you're releasing
the new
sex in a VR game that's real. It's not a good time if you're going up against fucking Elden Ring. It's not a good time.
And back in 2017, 28th of February, Horizon Zero Dawn came out. On the 3rd of March, Breath of the Wild came out.
I know.
Brutal.
It not only that, but I swear to God, one of their DLCs released, and now it's also a testament to that there's some big games that have done really well, and Elden Ring's new, but it is from software. But yeah, guys, the more changing we see, the better we see, the more gaps we see where somebody's like, you know, and it also shows physicals going away, which has a negative to it that I firmly see, because you can't just delay a physical game. You know, you can't early a physical game. There's all these steps. So I do see the negatives of that, but man, do I see the positives of reevaluating changes in the landscape that you could not have prepared for. You know, you set something up 6 months. How many times have you guys done a project? And I mean, you've done it for years. You look at something, you're like, hey, we need to move this. There's something else. There's blah, blah, blah. We need to adjust this. And gaming for the longest period of time, they've delayed, but it's usually been the massive delays. I like the smaller delay where you're like, you know what? We need a little bit of time. Spot's not for us. We have a couple extra bugs that we saw during the beta or what have you. Let's do that. Let's move it. It's not going to kill anybody. And this also probably stops gamers from taking vacation during a game's release. I'm sorry. You don't. That's a double negative. You're using your vacation and you're assuming it'll come out at that time. It's not that, probably not your best bet anymore. Maybe it was back in the day. Ref says a month delay is also a very comfortable delay. Whenever I hear about delays, it's usually, that's what I was getting at. It's usually 6 months.
That's
and I think that,
the same point. That's true.
Yeah. It feels so good to see developers be able to do it, get a smaller delay. It means there's also less fear factor on our part, I think. I don't have as much fear. If somebody says we're delaying the game 6 weeks from now, I'm like, you go, girl. Whatever you're doing, that makes sense. Now, if you say you're delaying it till next year, then I'm all, Because here's my question, Johnny. And so my question is, how in the motherfuck did we get within a month and a half of that being final, and you're just now deciding it needs a year?
Now we're making that decision.
Now we're making, and then sometimes you'll like play the game and it'll still be a little buggy and be like, God damn, what would have this been like if it was last year?
I know,
like this,
1 year.
Hell? Shadows, I like Shadows a lot, but I will definitely point that I think Shadows is one of those that I was like, I couldn't understand their release date because they delayed that thing a multitude of times. And when you play it, which by the way, I liked it, but you play it and you're like, damn, what was in this? Because there was a list one time they did where the producer, I think, stated, here's the stuff we added. And I'm like, motherfucker, that game wouldn't have been a tenth as good if all that shit wasn't there. That's like half of the fun shit. Like, what do you mean? Like, what would it have looked like?
What
at the
was
time?
there, man? Yeah.
On the other hand, guys, sometimes I don't believe a release date needs to be done. You don't open a Kickstarter like Alcat just did, apparently, or do your commercials and ask for money. But if you want to not announce the release date, I'm also fine. I don't think we need release dates. Gamers are too caught up in the release date, you know?
Yeah.
It's part of that hype cycle that I would love to see go away. Vapor for Blood says, I remember the day Elden Ring released. That was quite a crazy day generally. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That mother released with the patch that broke it. God damn it. That was like, it should, see, it's obviously not about me, but at that point it was, because it was like, you go out, you're like, hey, this game's good. You've got your usually reviewers are the ones who have those patches, and you're playing this patch and everything's running, and then the game releases for fans, and you're like, Spider-Man 2, man. That when that game released,
ACG didn't tell me about the issues,
why
man.
did ACG not tell me about transforming into trees? It's like, bitch, I would have thought that was awesome. If I could have transformed into a goddamn tree in Spider-Man 2, do you not think I would have made a joke about Arbor Day? I would have been all up in that shit. I would have been like, dude, Spider-Man's got wood in this game. Why? Because you can transform into a tree. I didn't, like, there were people swinging through buildings, and then I patched my game, and now I'm swinging through buildings. You're like, oh, you fucked that up. They fixed it pretty quickly, but still, it's bothersome. The Horizon Forbidden West DLC came out 3 weeks before Tears of the Kingdom came out as well.
Oh, wow.
Damn. What else do we got? What are we on for time? Damn, we're at 3
So
hours,
we're
dude.
about
I thought
three.
we were
We're about
at 2 hours max. Okay. Time flies
I
when
had
you go
a-
silver.
Yeah, exactly. I had a kind of a weird thought
Uh-oh.
about
I mean, this could mean
this.
all kinds of things.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this idea that every moment in time exists. It's just that we can only access the present one, but everything exists in this kind of continuum. And that if we could navigate the fourth dimension like we can the third dimension, so I can go to the supermarket, but I can't, go forward in time. I'm sort of stuck in my moment. What would it look like to be a being that can move in the fourth dimension? Would you just be able to access different versions of yourself? Can I get my 20-year-old self for a date? Or can I get my 50-year-old when I need to think really carefully about something? Or is it more about like your environment where you can access different points in time? Or is it both?
Do you really rely on
What'd you
the
guess?
emotional maturity on your 20-year-old self for a date?
It's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
There is
I love how you took
he's stuck
that
on that.
part.
He's stuck on.
He's stuck on that.
I found out a way to still diss on you. Yeah, dude. So Rory, I think I've sent you some of his videos. I could be, but he does psychology mixed with marketing. He talks about just crazy shit and why things are done a certain way.
Oh, Rory Sutherland?
Something, yeah.
I think so.
And I think
Yeah,
I've also
it's
told
great.
you about like where he was saying if you get the best HDR TV in the world and show it to a parrot, it's going to think it sucks because it sees at a different level. It sees so much information we don't, right? Blah, blah, blah. I do sometimes wonder like what that would be like, because in my brain, when you describe that, do you know what I saw? I saw my life anyway, but a blur. So like if I'm walking through the door, like time would be like a blur. But humans, even in 3D, have a tendency to actually march off distances. So a foot, 3 feet, a yard, that's mine, but 3 feet is a typical like adult gait, let's say. So I was wondering then, I was like, would we see in sections, like almost like frames, and then you have to dial in a frame?
Snapshots.
But, who knows? I mean, the idea that, what's her name? Sarah was talking about, Sarah Walker was talking about where technically time it's not just a slice. It actually grows with everything else, which sort of still boggled my mind. I had to sit back and go like, what the fuck is she talking about? But then it actually started to make sense of how she was describing things. I think it's well beyond our capability to ever. I wouldn't even know how to describe what you would see, because I have a feeling it's a whole other level
I think it would be so alien
continue. I can hear you.
that if you were navigating that fourth dimension, there wouldn't be any past, present, or future. It would all confluence into one single perception. You would perceive time in that completely differently to how we perceive time as progression.
But can't you, in a way, progress in 3D space? If I say I'm going to the kitchen, I'm like,
that's where I'm headed.
Like changing my position in 3D space. Can I do something similar and change my position in 4D space and like now occupy where I was?
I mean, you probably would, but you wouldn't have be able to, but you wouldn't have the navigational awareness to tell. I think necessarily.
Because in a way, you kind of experience all of it.
Yes, at once.
Like, yeah. I think it's one of those things we literally cannot imagine. Just like when you try to visualize a 4D object.
Yeah, or God.
I mean, there are some tricks.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, like, our brain just can't actually visualize that. You can create a 4D object, but we can't perceive it.
Also, my assumption, or the easiest way I think about that in my brain for time travel, or like especially if you saw everything at the same time, like you had the ability to see it, is that it would be like intuition. If you ever feel like somebody's behind you and they are, for some reason, because of our senses only working, and there's only certain senses we have that are attuned to very specific things, I would just assume it'd be like an intuition or something. It would be very weird to navigate that space. But you couldn't navigate. See, that's the other thing, Johnny. Navigating the space is different than seeing it. Because navigating it would be infinite points, which would be really weird. Like, I don't think humans are, I don't think we're even close enough to whatever the term would be, like even not smart enough, but even intuitive enough to describe what it would be like to us. I mean, look at Kyle Hill. He did a video where he was saying the Tesseract picture that everybody uses is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And he went on a diatribe. Admittedly, Kyle has done that lately. I've noticed he's definitely got sort of there's some issues with how people present science that he dislikes, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I noticed when he was going at that one, I was like, well, what's so wrong with giving somebody a thought process that's just in general the thought process? Then he described why. And I was like, oh, okay. Actually, I do understand why you may not want to give somebody that particular thought process. Maybe not for that Tesseract that he was showing, 4D object. It was like, listen, people use that to just, to understand what's going on. But yeah, that kind of stuff is always sort of flummoxed me because it's hard to know what's beyond. I would say the greatest day to me, weirdly enough, science-wise, is when I realized that, like, whether it be hearing or vision or whatever, there's animals that can see and experience well beyond it. And that first time you see a video of thermal vision, night vision, the first time you see an audio wave that you can't hear, like when I was doing music, I remember you would have an audio wave you couldn't hear, but you'd see the woofer moving. But it's a vibration. Yeah. That's it. Human ears just like not doing that. Or you go up super high and you can feel it. You can touch it and go, I know it's there because I can touch it. And the same experience is odd when you have a friend who comes over who's got hearing loss. And you'll be like, oh man, I really like that symbol. And if they have a really bad hearing loss, they may not even know it's a full symbol, because if you think about the sound of the symbol on a waveform, if it's this to them, they are not hearing a cymbal. I don't even know. They're hearing like almost like a cowbell or some, do you see what I'm saying? Like the song would sound different.
The ranges.
Because the range is so truncated that the top and end of a cymbal with that ring would be gone. And it would be almost like a dull thunk in some way. That kind of stuff, always fascinating to me. And I love like it when somebody shows an example that's a real world example like that. Sorry, go for it.
Or like when, like how some people perceive colors as sounds, right?
Yeah, synesthesia.
Yeah.
Synesthesia
or something.
Synesthesia.
Yeah. Yeah, that
would
is
be
that
would be weird. Sorry.
Is that like proven that it's a real phenomena,
Yeah.
or is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can it be that people are just kind
People have
of
been head
imagining
injuries and lost it, and head injuries and gained it. Also, some people can
Oh.
smell colors. There's a guy who wasn't Veritasium, but he did a science YouTuber, and he could smell colors. So if he saw black, and he smelled it in the way, here's why it all makes sense when you think about it. Black is normally, when I joke about emo, you rarely see somebody with white eyeliner and you call them emo, right? It's black.
Yeah.
Generally, or a darker color. So when he saw darker colors, his thought process was exactly what you would think, which is like dark associations. But he was smelling like rot, or he was and I was like, oh, you know what? That totally makes sense, because that's just I mean, if you think about, like, let's say whatever it is, the photon entering your eye, you see the color, and it tries to get to wherever it's going, and it shortchanges and hits the smell sector, and your smell's like, ooh, you know. In all honesty, would it be that bad? Could it be something where if you had that ability, would that actually be a gain? Because I do think people have a tendency to flatline their normal senses after a while, so it wouldn't bother them as much. I've noticed that the people that I hear, like, let's say I'm sensitive to smell really badly. I always have been. So if something smells a certain way, like sickly sweet, it'll give me a headache. But if I always smelled it, it would go away after a while, because my brain would be like, all right, well, that is not
tune it out.
Right.
Yeah, your brain's like, I'm not activating that fucking neuron. Just like, you know, I mean, all honesty, the big studies currently with visual indicators that humans are doing brain damage by what we're viewing, whether it be adult movies, anything that like hits the dopamine path. I mean, the science is out. Like, it is for sure damaging to be able to imbibe that. The human brain is just not geared for that amount of reward consistently. And so you look at those things. I mean, it makes sense. And it makes sense that somebody could see. I think it makes sense that somebody could like smell a color if their brain is wired different. Same way that, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard this joke, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious. He was on Theo Von. He's pretty much a dickhead. He's a comedian who was on Theo Von. I don't remember his name, but he did say one of the funniest things, because I had never thought of it this way. He said, why in the fuck is Braille so small? And I was all, what? And he's like, dude, if you're already, you know, blind, why aren't they big fucking bumps on the road that you walk over so you know Braille's over here? He's like, Braille's on the ATM. How do you know the ATM's there until you get there? And I was like, God damn, that really it didn't mess with my mind. And it's sort of ironic. It's like, obviously it couldn't be huge, but at the same time, it was a very cool thought process to go, damn, funny. You know what? That's
like
funny.
Someone trying to locate the actual Braille.
The actual thing,
like,
yeah. Well, so he said, he asked Theo, he's like, Theo, how many months do you think it would take you to learn Braille? And Theo's like, probably a month to understand it, probably 6 or 7 months to really get good. And he's like, how would you find it? And I was like, shit, that's true. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Never occurred to me.
Yeah, it never occurred to me. Yeah. But I love that kind of stuff. I love the extra sensory stuff that you also hear military people talk about it, where they get, and I definitely had it because of my prior jobs and some of the stuff where you would look at somebody. I mean, it's still joked around my friends that, like, if I go somewhere and I'm like, something's up, usually something will be up there, because after a while, it's almost like a flock mentality of birds. Your brain is like, this feels weird. You've heard stories of people going to a mosh pit and they call it like a bad, before they even go in.
Ooh.
They'll be like, I can tell this is like the vibe is bad here. So I'm assuming, like, if you could see time, might be a vibe or something. Like, that would be the only way as a human to navigate it. And it's why Interstellar was so confusing.
Almost like a new sense as well.
But Interstellar confused the shit out of me. When he's in a fucking library bookshelf, you know, picking books from a library bookshelf that was eternal, I was like, I think I understood.
What are we doing here? Like,
yeah. I mean, I understood it in general, but I also was like, man, I sort of don't know if that was the best. What's the term? Not metaphor, I guess. Yeah.
Allegory.
Allegory. Thank you. Yeah. For what they were trying to show, but still very cool.
Yeah. That's clearly the point where they went most outside of actual science, and they were going for some symbolism, I guess, and like some metaphysical.
Wild One Game says, have you ever wondered about how your our dreams work with how we calculate so much information, put it all together, and also find glitches in our dreams where it blends with completely different things? Yeah, dreams are cool because also REM sleep is where you memorize and all that kind of shit. And they show that if you don't get REM sleep, like it shortchanges the chemical path going from short to medium to long memory and how bad it can make. And as somebody who doesn't sleep great at all, I can tell you there have been times where I've woke up and been like, yesterday is lost. It's done. Like whatever I tried, I'll have to relearn stuff because I'll be like, oh shit, I can tell. Like you wake up and wake up in the morning, you feel good sometimes, and you're the video game boss you defeat. The opposite has happened to me, where I'll wake up in the morning and I'll look at my computer. This is for sure happened. I'll look at my computer and go, what are all these tabs doing open? And I wasn't taking an Ambien to go to sleep, anything like that. I just couldn't get to sleep that night. And I'll go, I have no memory whatsoever of studying these. It's happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times if I don't sleep well where I'll look at something and be like, fuck, I'm going to have to relearn all that. God damn it. You know? So yeah, interesting stuff, man. Science is cool, dude. Human bodies are crazy. I mean, there's like all kinds of crazy shit that's amazing with the human body and how it works.
I feel like we got the sweet spot of the visual
range
light. Like our range of light that we can see is sort of the sweet spot, right? There's not a ton interesting below. It's sort of just muddy, all noise. And then above, say like ultra
radio and stuff. Like, remember when you and I talked about this, Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, dude, if we saw on radio, we wouldn't see anything because everything's a radio wave.
Noise,
and it would be considerably, it would just be impossible to see anything because it would just be white. Oh, and you're like, oh, damn, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like if you had eagle's vision, we don't need it. But if you did, it would probably override your brain for a while, where your brain was like, what's important? Because I do think humans have a tendency to be right in the middle. We can focus fairly well. We can see fairly wide, depending on your head. We've seen some people with heads where you're like, dude, you're a hammerhead shark. Something happened when you were a kid. So they can see better, but you can see wide, somewhat. You can adjust somewhat. The eyes are pretty good in general, except I think they're the weak points of the human body. I feel like eyes are just, if I was making an alien race for a video game, I'd make sure they had eye covers or something. I feel like we walk forward even with the two worst parts of our body that will debilitate you for the rest of your life if they get poked out. And we're running
It's like
forward.
The boss in a video game that has the shiny weak spots.
If an alien, I mean, and dude, how many other creatures have them on the side of their heads because they have different needs for vision? You could only get one easily. But with humans, it's like, dude, there's a reason why Larry, Moe, and Curly poked each other easily in the eyes. It's like, it's your weakest point. I hate it. Because balls hurt, you can live without them. But eyeballs, if both of them are gone, it's like, you're going to need some help for a while. You're going to... Or the throat, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, boys, don't pre-order BF6. Uh-oh. What's happening with BF6? I don't know what that means. The night sky would be insane. I heard a theory that a part of us dies when we sleep and we have to learn or become new again when we wake up. That sounds like some Joe Rogan DMT bullshit.
Dude, what if stuff is only rendered when you look at it?
Well, so dude, we'll have to talk about this in the next podcast, but there is something to be said about like how the farther we look, we always see some crazy one-off. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. And even astrobiologists sometimes will be like, what's even weirder about this? It's not that we're seeing a new thing. It's that there's zero indication of this new thing until we see it once. And even with the same instruments, we start seeing it
and
again.
Then we start seeing
and
it.
You're like, is that like an enemy LOD? Are they upgrading Unreal 66?
But I always think that's a part of you are now biased towards seeing that thing because you're aware of it. Just like when you
but these
start
are
noticing
radios.
something
These are
out
instruments that suddenly do it. That's not a bias.
Right.
That's quite literally looking at scientific data and going, this has never showed up. Why are we seeing this? And then now, with the same instrument that originally didn't, it's that we focused in, we see, it's just a weird thing. I'm not saying it means anything. I'm just saying it's an interesting discussion piece to have. Or the fact that like light speed is overclocking and therefore time can't catch up to whatever polygon is moving through space. So therefore it ages slower. And I was like, okay,
Damn.
that's way too close to home. Like I remember the first time when I was talking about it, I was like,
Dude.
Because that fits a ton of theories. And I'm like,
there is some stuff like that, like what you described, that does make me think like, dude, the simulation thing kind of checks out for some of this stuff with how unlikely some of these things would be.
Right.
And but at the same time, it's one of those things that explains everything and nothing all at once. Right.
You mean how I've been drinking for 39 years and I just spilled pop all over myself? Dude, my mouth's worked up until this point. I was going to say the other thing. Oh, shoot. Oh, the simulation theory. I think people think the simulation theory means somebody's got their Cyrix 386 in a dimension above ours and it's simulating our world. Most of the time, whenever I'm reading about simulation theory, they're literally talking about it's from bits and that it's that the universe itself is run. It doesn't have to be an alien race. It can also just be simply how matter works, and that it's a simulation because of how matter, which is what Sarah Walker talks about, assembly theory, and how you start looking at things and going, oh, that's just how we, that's just how it comes together. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I would never want to meet a higher power that's able to simulate my universe. Quantum computers scare the shit out of me, though, because every nation is like, once somebody gets a quantum computer, prepare your ass to have no crypto coin. Like,
I mean, we already have some, right? Is it just
we do,
that
but
they're
the error
not
correction is terrible. So, like, the error correction is a big thing on quantum.
Yeah.
The last thing I heard was that error correction is so bad and needed so much that right now the data isn't clean at all. So you wouldn't be able to really do as much. But everybody's working on it, and they improve every day. And AI is helping them.
Yeah,
improve.
I think they're not practical for like real world problems yet.
No, they won't even do. They're not even set up. The way they're an abacus in a math we've never understood. That's a quantum computer. So when we get that abacus, we're going to be like, holy shit, I can get 5 sheep for 3 fucking, barrels of wheat or whatever. That'll work. But for simulating it and the stuff we're talking about, and that is like simulations continually running that aren't mathematics breaking a code, that'll take a while. Because
the bits can fluctuate.
Yeah,
right?
There's all kinds of weird shit like that.
You can't really get a.
I think calling it a quantum computer, somebody's bitched about too recently. It does compute, but I think there's like a pushback on calling it something else, like a quantum factoring or something, where you can, so that a person like you or me, when we're all talking, doesn't think of it as an Apple IIe sitting on some Chinese hacker's desk who's able to use, especially because how big they are. They're not small either. So it's like you start running into size.
No. Yeah, you have like a room for.
Remember
for
when they
thing.
used to talk about briefcase nukes, and then finally, 20 years later, the United States and Russia are sort of open with each other, and they're showing the size of their nukes, and you're like, dude, seriously, briefcase nuke? That fucking thing is the size of a semi truck. It's like, but old, maybe even James Bond. I could be wrong on this. But I think even James Bond had a suitcase nuke that was in the suitcase.
I think so, yeah.
And you're just like, no, that'd be a dirty bomb. It wouldn't be big enough to create that part of it, but it would be dirty as shit if you blew it up. Poor Silver. Jor is saying you need to leave because you're sad and sleepy, Silver. Do you need to leave?
Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so fuck off, whoever you are. Do you see Mr. Puffin a spliff and ain't no Rogan? Do you see Mr. Puffin a cigarette spliff and sipping? No Rogan. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I got nothing on that.
Some of you guys smoke a lot of pot. Quantum computers are very low bit right now. Yes, they are. The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot blew my mind. Yeah, that one was very good. Speaking of that, Silver, though, to get you back in the conversation, because for some reason Jor feels super, super bad for you and wants you to leave. Has there been any books you've picked up or music you've listened to or movies that you've been watching? That you've liked?
I actually watched Fantastic Four yesterday.
What'd you think?
Well, I went into it pretty blind, and I actually, much to my surprise, I ended up loving it.
Awesome. This is Fantastic Four, not Superman, right? This is Fantastic
Yes.
Four. Okay, just making sure.
Probably the best Marvel movie I've seen in a long time, to be honest.
Damn.
Really? Better than Deadpool? Or did you not like Deadpool?
Yeah, I thought Deadpool was the third one was with Wolverine was average. Like I thought it was too it went too heavy on the nostalgia for me.
So, without spoiling anything, with this new one, I heard two things that I thought were really cool. One, that in general, Fantastic Four may have issues all the way back to its original, but they've always done the female casting well. I thought that was interesting because I'd not ever parsed out. And I went back and looked, and I was like, Jessica Alba actually didn't mind at all, though she's not a great actor. What's her name? Mira Rooney was in one. She was good. I can't remember the other lady's name. And then this lady. Is there any... Vanessa Kirby, thank you. Kirby, by the way, because it's the last name of a comic book artist.
Yeah,
it drives me fucking nuts. Yes. She's not related, right?
Creator of the Fantastic Four.
Right, but she's
not as far as I know.
Okay. What would you say then for the casting? Is the casting is it the best casting? Is that why it's good? Is it, again, don't spoil anything.
So Vanessa Kirby in particular, I think Vanessa Kirby is really the standout as Sue Storm.
Okay.
I think she's great. I think Pedro's fine as Reed Richards. He actually manages to make Reed likable.
Damn. Okay. Which he wasn't in the first two for me. So.
I mean, I don't think he is in general, really, in the comics either.
Oh, really?
Although I haven't read that much Fantastic Four, to be honest. But Reed has never really seemed like a likable character to me.
Oh, okay. But you think she's a
Johnny Storm? The Johnny Storm characterization is also nice because he isn't just the typical sort of dumb jock kind of character.
Yeah.
He's actually intelligent and contributes. Ben also fine. I think the cast works well, but what really works is just the overall tone and feel like the retro futuristic setting. Yeah. It really evokes like the old animated show that I watched in my childhood. It really genuinely feels like a comic book movie to the extent that I could almost see the panels in the shots as the movie progressed. Mm-hmm. Galactus, they managed to make him not actually feel really silly and hokey. He feels really fun. It's just a fun movie, with a real emphasis on that word. I just had a great time with it. I really recommend it for fans of the Fantastic Four. It's the best Fantastic Four media I've seen since I can even remember, to be honest. It stays away from a lot of the edgy, stupid stuff that I read. Like, I remember reading a Fantastic Four issue with Dr. Doom where he basically made deals with demons where he took the skin from his first love and enmeshed it into his armor to be, because he's Dr. Doom, he has to be edgy and evil.
That is pretty edgy, yeah.
Yeah.
That's on the edge. That is rough.
So yeah, there isn't any of that stuff. It's just, it's good, clean sort of comic book fun. That was just something I fell in love with it.
What about you, Johnny? Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Did you see Superman?
I would like to see that. No, I haven't gone yet to see that either. Have you? No.
Nothing about that one interests me. Fantastic Four does a little bit because I'm a Flash Gordon fan and I know the overlap of the timeline and the vibe isn't identical, but I sort of love the Jetsons cars with panels that have wings on them. 1960s,
futuristic.
And honestly, this is going to sound weird. If you were to go back in time in Fallout 4, there's times where I see the panels on the vehicles and stuff going, God damn, there's some overlap there that I seem to be particularly drawn to. So yeah, dude, I'm a big fan of I'm going to say big fan and I can't remember his fucking name. The main guy from Triple Frontier. What's the main guy's name? From Narcos. And Fantastic Four. Pedro, thank you. I was going to call him Carlos. I like Pedro.
Carlos.
I don't know Kirby from anything other than Bond, and I didn't particularly find her character awesome there, but I love her attitude that when she's talked about it, she seems locked in. Just seems like it's okay to just be a superhero movie without all the hubbub that all the others seem to consistently incur as a penalty for some reason. I'm not even going to get into it. So I love the idea
focused more on the fun.
I watched all of them. That middle
Very
one
much felt like its own contained thing, which was a huge asset for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, anything's better than that middle one. The one prior to
not
this
everything has to be a universe that you're setting.
Yeah, dude. It not only that. Listen, motherfuckers. The first Marvel movies didn't have to set a bunch of shit up either. They were fairly contained, especially Iron Man. So you were like, it contained and it felt like a solid person. Now everything's got to be a menage a trois of superhero fuckery. And you're like, dude, you got to let it build, man. I got to know why this character's cool. I got to know why this thing is cool. I got to know why this thing is cool. So I haven't seen it, but I do want to. I think that's the only one I want to see. Admittedly, Nathan Fillion's awesome. I love him, and I would love to go see a movie where he was in it. But James Gunn isn't really my thing anymore either, though. I mean, I don't hate him, but at all. But
I've heard quite a bit positive about the new Superman movie.
I've heard both, but I've definitely heard the negatives fit
that one as well.
The negatives that I have, and that's just me. Not saying it's bad. I'm saying it just doesn't interest me. What did you say? You saw it, Silver?
Yeah, I did see Superman as well. I wasn't as crazy.
We were in here talking about Superman. Why didn't you? What the hell? You let us. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't as crazy about that one as I was about Fantastic Four. I didn't think it was bad. I liked it. I just felt it really sort of disintegrated toward the end.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah, man, it's going to be cool to see where these go.
I wasn't a huge fan in particular of the dog, of Crypto. Which I know I'm probably in the minority of, but yeah.
You're not. I don't know. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy ideas that are possible, but for Superman, it's just not for me. But whatever. I'm glad to see him being made.
And I will say the James Gunn musical interludes felt a lot more forced in Superman than they ever did in Guardians, where they were sort of integrated as part of Star-Lord's mixtape.
Right.
So they felt like they had a natural place there, where in Superman, they kind of don't.
Did you like the actor in the role? Because he kind of comes across as
I thought he was
bland.
I thought he felt he reminded me a lot of Reeve, honestly.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's only going to speak to like 6 of us. Because Reeve's so old.
True, to be fair, I never saw one of them.
Dude, I mean, Reeve, to me, that guy was, it's hard to describe. But
he still is, I think, the quintessential Superman.
So do I. And even though I actually have no issue with Jacked Man, whatever his fucking name is, I have no issue with him.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. I have no issue with him. I thought he did fine with what he had. But I honestly, I definitely think Reeves is like, and it wasn't even because I grew up with him, because even I look at him and I'm like, they're cheesy, but him personally, you know how it is though. Same thing happens with Batman. This guy's the best Bruce Banner, or Bruce, did I say that right? No, Bruce Wayne. And then this guy's the best Batman. A lot of times they don't overlap. Like sometimes in a lot of the superhero movies where there's an alter ego, I'll like one part and not the other. Reeves, I think, fit both. Also, him showing up jacked as shit with his little curly hair and his glasses, and no one picks up that he's Superman. Always cracked me up even as a little kid. I'm like, what the fuck, man? This guy's jacked, man. He's huge. And
imagine
back then,
if
this is back then
friend,
when they weren't.
Man. Like,
you'd be like,
you would know instantly.
And I still love
Superman.
in one of the movies. Which one is this one? I think it's number 2, where Lois, maybe it's the his glasses fall in the fire, and he reaches in and he grabs them, and she finally looks at him and then goes and grabs his glasses off and realizes the glasses. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, seriously.
Yeah.
You're a reporter.
They actually have a comment about that in this movie where they say it's hypno glasses, so he actually hypnotizes people not to recognize him.
I'm actually okay with that. By the way, Totally fine with that. It would make it, just tell a little bit story to get past the, to let us buy off on it, and then move on.
Yeah. Just don't insult my intelligence that like your best friend wouldn't know instantly you're Superman.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't need to happen. Oh yeah, people are talking about Naked Gun. I can't wait to watch it. I'm a Leslie Nielsen fan, so I heard it's actually good too. Maybe I just heard somebody say they think it's good because it was a couple.
I've heard mixed things
days ago. Yeah, so maybe I'll take that. I can't remember what I read, but I did think somebody said that he took the piss out of everything and it was actually genuinely funny. But it's really hard to be Leslie Nielsen funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's in
terms of deadpan delivery.
Yeah,
you're not going to get better.
And
he really invented that whole thing, the whole like scary movie.
He did it. Not only that, but the original Police Squad, like his, because he was a dramatic actor too. That's the difference. Liam Neeson, I remember him from Taken forever, so I always see him as a big guy. Leslie Nielsen wasn't necessarily small, but he had that old man look. And he could pull something off, and the shit he would say and the looks, he would do these weird looks, and I'd be like, holy Christ, this guy is amazing. And that was number one, when I super young and just watching those shows and Airplane and all that stuff. Airplane. Was that the other one I saw him in? No, I saw him in he was in Airplane. I think the other one I saw him in that I didn't like was there's a horror one, like a fake Dracula maybe.
Yeah, Dracula Dead and Loving It. That was the Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah, wasn't a big fan of that one. Anyway, that'll be it for us. Anybody want to pass anything amazing on to chat before we wrap this one up? Before we hypnotize them into forgetting that we did a podcast? We'll come back next week. We'll hypnotize them into forgetting that we suck. Do you guys have anything that you want to pass on? Any games you want to suggest? Movies? Anything? Going once?
I also watched Daredevil. They've done a Daredevil Reborn in Disney Plus, which is kind of like it's picking up where the show left off, but it's kind of a new production. And
is it him?
It's a bit. Same cast.
Oh, okay.
It's and it has Punisher in it. It's got the lawyer, folk. So it's got like the same cast and everything, and Fisk and all of that. So if you liked Daredevil, it's quite good. And it's pretty intense as well. It's like a nice short and sweet 9-episode thing.
And I don't have anything to suggest. I suggest you guys have an awesome week. Vapor says you can't just throw shade at Dracula Dead and Loving It like that, Carrick. Not on my watch. Guess what?
That's right.
Guess what? I did. Anyway, that'll be it for us. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. If you get a chance, thumbs this up when we were done. Leave a comment, what have you. Peace out, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week.